Hello and welcome to Roatan, Honduras and the West Bay, the beautiful dive site we have here today for the AIDA World Championships. Today we'll be featuring the women in the no fins competition. This is the most strenuous of our competitions, being that the diver has to dive the whole way on their own power in a breaststroke-like stroke. And this morning I have joining me a representative from Honduras. This is Sherry Cristina Padilla. And Sherry, great to have you with us today. And
thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to be here.
That's great. So what do you think about this event that we're having here?
Wow, this is such a big event for us as a country. We feel very honored that you guys picked Honduras. And we're very excited. We can't wait to see how the competition goes. So we have big expectations, great expectations. We're wishing everyone the best.
The government and the Honduras Tourism Board have been very supportive, and we are very pleased. These competitions are extremely expensive, and without support from the local government and other entities, private things like the Mayan Princess Hotel that we have here, our organizer Esteban Darhampe, and the Roatan Freediving School, these things are just not possible. We cannot make the entry fees high enough that to be able to support the competition, we have to have other help. And with Sherry here, this is just so great for us to be promoting our sport, and we are more than pleased to have you here. Maybe you could speak to our Spanish viewers for just a moment.
Claro que sí, los invito a que estén en sintonía del evento de freediving. Pues esperamos lo mejor para todos, les deseamos muchísima suerte. Sigan en las redes sociales, estaremos en vivo, el evento ya está por comenzar, deseándole éxitos a todos y muchísima suerte.
Thank you so much. Muchas
Thanks
gracias. And right now we're getting ready. Our first diver is going. It's Kristin from Hawaii. She's going to be doing a no-fins dive of 38 meters in a dive time of 2 minutes and 10 seconds. You'll be noticing as you're watching these dives that it's quite slow compared to what you've been seeing. And it's because there's no fin and the divers are not allowed to use the rope to help them. This is completely unassisted. You can see Kristin doing this modified breaststroke. It's a stroke that is similar to what competitive swimmers, breaststrokers use underwater off the walls. And Kristin is descending here. You have to, in the first few meters, because of the positive buoyancy, you have to swim pretty hard. It takes a lot of energy. The diver is allowed to use weight, but whatever weight they wear, they have to keep the entire dive. You have to return with that same weight when you come back up. You're not allowed to drop the weight at the bottom and then make it easier for you to return. So when you make a decision on your weighting, you have to decide, do I want to go down easier with some weight to help me get down, or do I want to be able to return with more buoyancy? So here comes Kristin. She is now at 35 meters. She's nearing the bottom plate. There she is. She's going to grab her tag. She gets one pull, and then she comes back up. She secures the tag, and she will swim back up. This is the hardest part of this dive. It's a long swim back up. If you notice, Kristin has a little bit of a whip kick going on. One foot seems to be working a little bit out of sync with the other. Maybe she's had some sort of an injury. I would assume that's what it is. But she's able to propel herself nonetheless, even though her kick is not exactly optimal. So, Sherry, how are you liking this view that we have here?
That's fantastic. Feels like I'm there.
It's just something.
Yeah.
You can see the safety divers come into view now. There they are. They're going to escort her up to make sure she's not feeling any sort of distress whatsoever. If they see any indication that she's too tired or something, they will help her. But if they do, that's a disqualification. So she wants to make it on her own. And here she comes to the surface. Let's see how she looks. Her coach is telling her to breathe. Turn around and look at the judges. Oh, she's having a little trouble there. The safeties are grabbing her. That was a little bit too much for her. It might have been because of that kick problem that she was having, that she used a little bit too much energy and she wasn't able to maintain her airway out of the water. So that'll be an unfortunate red card for our first diver, Kristin from Hawaii. Good try though. Good effort, Kristin. Now this is, as you watch this, I don't know if any of you have tried to swim underwater vertically, but it isn't easy. So it's one of those things that can be, it just takes, it's a lot of work. So that will go down as a disqualification. Okay, coming up on our white platform, we have Nancy Gibson from the UK. Adam Mustow will be joining us now. He's a friend of Nancy's, and he would like to comment on her dive. Nancy has announced a dive of 30 meters in a time of 1:55.
39.
39. I'm sorry,
39.
my print is a little. My printing here is a little bit off. So Adam, is this a discipline that Nancy enjoys, or has she been working on it, or tell us about it?
I think she's enjoying it more. So her equalization's come on a lot over the last few weeks in the Caribbean Cup and in this. She did 54 meters constant weight the other day. She did 32 meters no fins in the Caribbean Cup, which she did really well. White carded that. She's had a fantastic competition. She's been very, very consistent. She actually did this depth the other day in training, and from talking to her, I got the impression that it was just challenging enough that she was happy to just announce it, and I think she wants to finish the competition clean. So
That's great.
I'm expecting a good dive from Nancy today.
Oh, that's nice. Nancy is one of our newer divers, so her depths are not as deep as some of the girls who have really been working on things for a while, but that's one thing about AIDA International competitions. All are welcome. We have divers at all levels, those that are just beginning up to those that are world record holders. If you're interested in learning about competition or taking a course, please visit us at aidainternational.org. We have all kinds of information on our site about where you can take a class or where you can sign up to compete, and we'd be happy to meet you and help you out. So Adam, how are you feeling in general about the competition?
Me personally, or just me? This has been a challenge for me, this competition. This is my first individual comp. I suppose it's my first comp generally. It's also the first competition I've done no fins, so I'm only doing no fins here. I fell sick earlier in the competition with a few things. I got an ear infection, so I actually haven't been in the water that much, but the island's beautiful, right? I've been blown away by the reef here, and just the flora and fauna generally that you see on the island is really, really spectacular. I actually went for a swim yesterday with Kristin of the USA team, and we saw eagle rays and ocean triggerfish and all sorts of things. So this is a million miles from home for me.
Well, that's a very important subject, and something Sherry and I were discussing before we came on the air this morning. I think a lot of the world doesn't know, and Adam came all the way from the UK, how beautiful it is here, and what a great dive location it is.
So abundant. I mean, you can, if you're a fan of marine wildlife and just being in the water, I mean, Roatan it's really up there. The health of the reef here is exceptional, especially when there's so many reefs around the world are being affected by coral bleaching and things like that.
So you get to see a lot of species also.
Very
underwater.
abundant, very much so. Yeah. So
So
Nancy's just starting.
So just
now.
Nancy's going. Let's see how she does. Adam will comment and give us some comments as she goes along here.
So I think, as Karla's already alluded to, no fins, you tend to underweight yourself when you're doing no fins. This actually makes the ascent a little easier. So on the way down, you're really swimming against positive buoyancy, so you've got to put a bit more effort in, but you're getting a little bit more of a free ride on the way back up. It's widely accepted as the most, kind of like the purest, but probably the most athletic of three disciplines that we do in competition. And as such, it puts quite a bit more strain on the body in terms of effort. And you'll see with some of the divers later on, when they're going very deep, everything's being done anaerobically. So all of the energy that you're getting is from glycogen stores in your muscles and that kind of thing. So lactic acid can really build up in this discipline. So staying relaxed is more difficult. You're doing a more complex procedure during the dive.
And there she is. It looks like she's making the plate. She's grabbing her tag. She needs to secure that tag.
Tucked it away, you alright?
Yeah, and here she goes. Couple of kicks.
So Nancy's negatively buoyant now, so this is really where the dive begins in CNF. If you can stay composed on the way down, you grab the tag, and on the way back up, you're expending more energy, and you're trying to stay focused and relaxed.
You have to pull pretty hard in those first few strokes off the plate because you are negatively buoyant, but as you get up closer to the surface, it becomes easier and you can lengthen your stroke and not have to do as many. And many divers are actually very precise about counting their strokes as well.
She looks really relaxed here. So these are very quite slow, purposeful strokes. The other thing that the viewers might notice as well is that proportionally the depths announced in no fins tend to be a little lower than the others, and it's because it is just that little more difficult. Maybe, what would you say, maybe 10 to 20 meters different? Something like that.
Yeah, here she comes. You can see that she's
I
going
think she's
quite
enjoying
slow.
it.
She's just enjoying going quite slow now. She's basically
so.
kind of floating to the surface, and the safeties are keeping a close eye on her to make sure that she's fine and isn't feeling too tired.
I have a feeling this might
Here
actually
she
be a
comes.
personal best for Nancy in competition.
Great.
So
Here she is.
she's got the line. Yeah, I think she's got this. Yeah, nice and clean.
She's looking good.
It's looking like a white card.
She's looking at the judges. One of our required tasks is that you must return to the surface, remove your facial equipment, goggles, nose clip, give the OK sign, and say, I am OK in that specific order, and present the tag to the judges. And you have to be facing the judges. If any of those things are wrong, that's nice work
fantastic.
for Nancy. That's a white
Well done,
card.
Nancy.
Good job for Nancy.
So across 2 competitions, Nancy's done all 3 disciplines. She's got 5 white cards and 1 yellow, and the yellow is just a technicality for a pull beneath the surface when she turned the other day. So I don't think there's many divers that can kind of claim that. So that's really, really great. It's fantastic.
That's great. Well, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Adam, for giving us that
Thank you very much.
elucidation on Nancy, and we're certainly congratulate her on a lovely dive today.
We look forward to seeing Helena dive later as well. If Helena makes her dive today, she's announced, I think, 53 meters. If she does that, she'll become number 2 on the UK women's
that's
no
fabulous.
fins list,
Yes.
behind Sarah Campbell's. So we're really wishing Helena best of luck with that.
Oh, that's right. Helena will be coming up at 9:48, so just about
According to the AIDA
AIDA
rankings page.
Yes.
I had a look last night.
Good. Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for
Cheers,
joining
ladies.
us.
Bye.
So up next on the blue platform, we're going to have well, I'm a little bit confused here on this name. Hanadia Panay Perel. Camila. I have not seen this diver before. This is somebody.
Yeah, she's been around.
She's been around. Okay.
She's not diving.
Okay. Yeah. So, but she hasn't. This is her first competition event, I believe. 'Cause I haven't seen her. So she's announced 40 meters and a dive time of 1:45. I'm sorry that I wasn't familiar with her, but everyone else has been doing things all along that I've seen. So it must be that she prefers no fins. I know that myself, I started out that way as well because I didn't own a fin, so I started out with no fins. It doesn't require much equipment, so if you are someone who likes to swim, it's certainly an option to do. So she's getting ready for her dive, 40 meters. 40 meters a few years ago used to be considered a rather substantial dive in depth. But recently, with some new divers that have come on the scene, Sayuri Kinoshita, the depth has been moved up substantially. Our world record now is over 70 meters for women. So, and that's a long dive time on those. Those are well over 3 minutes on that. So in freediving, one takes one big breath at the surface. Sometimes they add a few little tiny additional packs, as we call it, to add air on top. And then you descend, but it's only on that one breath. You're not allowed to consume any oxygen prior to the dive in order to enhance your breath hold ability. You have to go totally clean. You have to check in 1 hour before and be within sight so that we know that no one is trying to breathe oxygen. And that's the way this works for us here. So here she goes. She's getting ready. We're on our last few seconds.
4,
So,
3, 2, 1. Official time. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 10.
you have until 29 seconds to start. There she is. She rolls and she starts down.
We have Pinilla of France doing a constant weight no fins dive to 40 meters. Dive time is 1 minute 45 seconds.
You can see that she's kicking and pulling quite hard, and that's because of the positive buoyancy, which is close to the surface. And when she gets to, well, we'll have to see when it starts to ease up for her. It depends on how much weight she's wearing and how thick of a suit. That all creates a different quotient in the buoyancy, and we never know when somebody will become negative. Here she's negative now, and she's just sinking on her own. She doesn't have to swim anymore. She'll sink down to the bottom, and then she'll grab a tag. We've just had Daniel Koval from Hawaii join us. He's part of our very strong Hawaii contingency, and we are very proud to have them all here. He's with Kristin, who you saw in our first dive. We're watching Helena from France on a 40-meter no-fins dive right now.
She's looking really nice, really strong.
Yeah, she's looking like everything's going well here for her. Kristin, we noticed you had a little bit of a funny scissor kick. Do you have a sore leg today?
I have no technique at all.
Okay. I was thinking maybe you had injured your leg or something because your kick wasn't even, and then when you got to the surface I thought, well, maybe that was, it made it difficult for you. So,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And in no fins, anything that doesn't go right, this is the discipline that requires the most technique of all of them. And if your technique is off in any way, your arms are sore or anything, the whole thing kind of falls apart. Here she is. Here's Henate at the surface. She even moves her clip. She looks very strong. She gave the okay
Very
sign.
nice.
It should be just fine. We'll wait for the card. She looks happy. She's smiling. All looks good. She's got her tag. She's holding it very high. She's very proud of that tag. Nice job.
Very nice.
So Kristin, tell us a little bit about your dive.
I felt not too bad on the way down. I haven't practiced no fins at all. I've only maybe done like 1 or 2 no fins dives in the past 6 months or so. So I was really nervous prior to my dive, and I think that also contributed to the loss of motor control and everything. But I felt okay on the way down, having a couple contractions towards plate, but on the way back up it was pretty difficult because my kick technique is really off. So I think that's what.
Yeah, you had one leg that just was not quite in your program.
Yeah, in this discipline, it's really important to have a swimming background or something like that. So, before Kristin started freediving a few years ago, she just had started to swim, so she's fairly new at the swimming technique.
And the frog kick is something that for non-swimmers can be very difficult to learn. I teach a lot of pool work for people because I was a swimmer, and I'm always surprised, and part of it is, in my own opinion, I believe if you haven't started young, that to get your hips to open up wide is extremely difficult. It's something, if you start young, you've already kind of got that flexor opening in the hip, and if you don't, you have to really work at it to achieve that. So I'd like you to meet Sherry, who's joining us today. She is from the Honduras Ministry of Tourism, and they have been a great support here for us to enable this competition to be able to take place, and so we are more than excited to have them. And so I was telling her that all of us in the Americas are particularly glad to have this competition here this year, and that we had a big group from Hawaii coming because they were so excited. So maybe you can tell Sherry exactly why you wanted to come here and how you feel about Honduras.
Well, since I started competing, this is the first competition or first World Championships that we've had on this side of the world. So usually it's in Greece or somewhere else really far from Hawaii. So it's nice just to come down to Honduras, which isn't that far away. But we actually came here last year for the Caribbean Cup, so that was really.
It's not your first time in Honduras.
Yeah, so it's really nice to come back to a place where we've competed before. I competed. She was just helping me last year, so we sort of already know what this place is about, and know where to stay and the water and stuff like that. So it's actually very nice to come back here and
it's
do
fantastic.
the competition.
I'm glad you guys have liked it a lot.
Yeah. The water is beautiful here. There are some thermoclines as you go down that I've been feeling on my dives that have been causing some issues, but for the most part, it's It's unbelievable visibility and just the marine life around here. It's just gorgeous. So.
For those of you, a thermocline is when you come to a specific depth in the ocean where you'll get a little current that comes through that makes it colder. Most of us don't feel it. It's only Daniel who dives really deep and those that go deeper than that. But for the majority of people, you'd never even know it was there. So it's only those that are talented enough as Daniel to be able to know about that. Okay, coming up now on the white platform, we have Gritti from Germany. She's announced 41 meters in a dive time of 2 minutes. Gritti's really been enjoying this competition. She's really excited to be here, and she's a lot of fun. And Daniel, what do you think about her technique as you watch her start?
Looking good. Nice strong kick there. So, and she's making it down at a pretty good speed, a little bit slower than a meter per second, but she's
of course, in no
she's
fins,
trying
that's
to
not
relax.
unusual,
Right,
you have to work so hard.
And
you
then
can see
here
we
she
have
goes.
Michael's been able to provide us with an actual number here where you can actually see what the descent rate is, which is really an added addition
Yeah,
to
all
the feature that
fitting.
we have now. So that's great. And now we have Nancy joining us. And Nancy will be telling us about how her dive went. Congratulations, it looked good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
So here we're watching Gritti.
She's hitting the plate.
Yep, there
nice.
she goes.
A bit of a shock.
Sometimes it is a shock. So how are you feeling today, Nancy?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I think I looked relaxed coming up, but in my head I was like, I'm glad I didn't go any deeper.
So was that a personal best for you today?
I tried it yesterday.
Yeah, and it was so you knew you could do it.
Yeah.
But the competition nerves can really add a more complicating factor.
Yeah, they can do indeed. But I found been doing regular meditation, I think it's really helped a lot. Sort of get those thoughts and just let them pass.
Good, that's great. Well, congratulations, it certainly looked lovely. Okay, so here comes Gritti now. The safety divers are with her. She's taking some nice wide strokes.
She's getting super strong and smooth.
Nice rhythm on the way down.
Yeah.
Or, way up.
Yeah, she looks great, and let's see how she comes up and how she looks on her protocol. Hello, Gritti.
That was good.
Oh, she's looking good.
Very nice.
No problem there. Excellent. And she's happy. That's great. Yes. Nancy, this is Sherry she's representing Honduras in the
Sherry.
government, and we've been talking about how great it is to have the competition and the support we've received from Honduras, and I was telling her how excited everyone's been. People like you who come a very long way from the UK, and
feels like a world away.
But how you've been enjoying Honduras and Roatan and how beautiful it is here.
It's beautiful. Like on our rest days, we're just like snorkeling in the local area and going on little road trips down the island. Found the locals are super friendly, like genuinely friendly as well.
Yes.
Just like get to know the local people around.
How about the food? What have been all your thoughts about the food?
I'm not bored of Baleares yet.
And you guys, have you enjoyed enjoying food?
Yeah, we have. There's actually quite a bit of range of different types of food. There's a lot of Italian influence here, it seems like,
We have a
and
lot of Italian.
yeah, it's really nice to get big bowls of pasta. It's perfect for free diving fuel. So.
What about you?
Yeah, I've just really enjoyed it. I'm a real papaya fan, so every morning when I see all that papaya on the breakfast buffet at the Mayan Princess, I'm always excited, and the staff there is just really delightful, and they make nice cappuccinos. I mean, the service is just excellent, so we appreciate everything the Mayan Princess has done for us as well, and their food is incredible. I was mentioning to Sherry that one thing tourists don't have to worry about when you come here is that the food is very good. Everything's, it's clean. You don't have to worry you're not going to get sick or anything like that. Some people, worry about those things, but this is actually a cruise ship destination, so they cater to tourists, and they know that their standards have to be very high. So It's definitely not something where you come and you say, well, it's just completely rustic, and you're going to have trouble finding things. It's not that way
But
at
it's
all.
got a balance. It's not too commercialized,
yeah.
which is nice.
1 minute, 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, it's great. So over on the blue platform now, we have, let me look here, I'm looking with my glasses, which is hard, Natalie Rudman from South Africa.
Oh, this is Annabelle.
Oh, is it Annabelle next?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong person. Annabelle, sorry, I'm just looking wrong. Annabelle Edwards, another one of our Hawaii members. She's
Yay,
doing
go
41
Annabelle.
members. Annabelle, as we mentioned the other day, is a former world record holder. She's a very accomplished diver. She has a huge breath hold. She always has. And we're very pleased to have her here. She was particularly excited. She kept writing to me all year. She says, Karla, is this really going to happen? Are we really going to have this in Honduras? And I said, yes, we are. So she really worked hard to get all the Hawaiians together. And I'm so glad that she was able to come here. She's trying to establish some more master's records. I happen to know that the master's record in this discipline is quite a bit deeper.
30 seconds.
So because she and I were both working on it. She had it originally, and then I was trying to get it, and then we've had other people working on it. So we have quite a few ladies in that master's category that have worked on this no fence dive. So she's doing a safer dive today at 41 meters, and we're just glad to have her here. Okay, let's have, we're now going to have Gritti join us in just a minute. I'm going to ask you to, thank
If
you
I
for
can
joining
talk
us.
about Belle a little bit.
Yeah, just a minute,
As she's
sure.
she's someone that we hang out with a lot in Hawaii. She's an absolute local legend, and pretty much the mom of where we train. So she's just starting her dive here, and she has kept our local freediving spot at home alive, as every Sunday she goes for church to go to freedive. That's her religious activity for Sunday, so that's what she calls it. And she's been doing this for, I want to say, almost like 25 years. So she's really kept it alive, and an absolute legend in this sport. So, but yeah, love you, Belle.
Oh,
So,
yeah, she's,
I'll,
good. She's looking good here. You know, she's been telling me for years that in free immersion she keeps trying to dive her weight and her age, and every year it gets harder and harder because as we get older, things just don't work as well. So here she is. She's doing less than what she's done in the past, but 41 meters in no fins is still a difficult dive. So
it's
it's
looking
nice
really
to see her do
nice.
this. Yeah.
Touchdown.
Oh, very much there. Nice.
It's a little hard to see. We got a lot of glare, and our little curtain is blowing a little bit over here. It's a little hard to see, but here she comes. She's on her way back up.
Maybe the next.
Yeah. As I mentioned, Annabelle is really good in static apnea, which is one of our disciplines in the pool, where you just lay in the pool and try to hold your breath as long as you can. She has a very good breath hold, which is an advantage for anyone. She trains that. She enjoys that particular discipline. It's a very painful discipline, actually, holding your breath like that, because it takes a lot of concentration in order to do it. But here's Annabelle.
She has a really nice glide going on in her dive here.
She's moving quite slowly. I think she's really enjoying this. She's taking her time. She's not feeling any hurry, which is great. She feels comfortable. She doesn't feel like she has to rush to the surface. Just enjoying every second of it. And here she comes.
And she's looking nice. Keep breathing.
Oh, she's great.
All right.
No problem. Let's wait and see what the judges have to say. Nice job, Annabelle.
Very nice. Very nice.
I have a white card.
Very good. Nice start. Thank you so much, Daniel. And Gritti, here you are.
Yeah,
So what do you think? How was it?
I'm really happy because I got sick yesterday,
Oh,
and I'm really happy. My first World Championship, 3 white cards, so I'm completely all over the moon.
oh, that's great. Well, congratulations. It looked really nice. How did it feel?
It felt nice, actually. Yes. It's a little bit. I got a little traumatized by dolphins 1 year ago or half year ago. So actually, before I came here, I could not go deeper than 25 meters in dolphins anymore. And I just did free dives here in training, just to try it. And the conditions are so nice, and also less weight, a thinner suit, everything. And actually, I really enjoyed this dive.
Oh, that's great. This is Sherry from representing Honduras. And Gritti came all the way from Germany to be here in Honduras. As you can see, I've been telling Sherry, we've got a very wide representation. People traveled a long way to come to this
All over the
competition.
world. So it's exciting for us to receive people from different countries.
Yeah, it was a long journey, but it was worth it. Still thinking, or already thinking about next year's Caribbean Cup actually.
Yeah, Esteban started doing that a few years ago, the Caribbean Cup, and always in anticipation of at some point having a world championship. He applied several times, and this year he was able to secure that nomination. We accept proposals from various sites around the world, and we review them, and then our entire assembly, all of our national members vote on where the competition will take place. So Esteban had been really trying to get it here, and it happened this year. So we're just really glad to be here in this beautiful location. I was talking to some of the divers yesterday, and they were saying this really is a perfect place for a world championship.
Yeah, it is.
You know, because we have beautiful hotels. We also have a lot of other rental properties that are for less expensive, affordable, maybe for people who don't have a huge budget. But we have the beautiful water. The depth is very close to shore. Between here and the shore is that gorgeous reef that Sherry was talking about. So if you swim over here, you're going to be swimming and seeing all these beautiful fish, which is really great. And
I will do this in the next days. Didn't see it yet.
yeah, no, our competitors don't have a lot of extra time to be looking around, so they're looking forward to it. So we're going over to the white platform now, and we're going to be having Lily Crespi from France diving 42 meters in 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Lily does a lot of training in Dahab. She was working with Steve Keenan, and we're glad to have her here. Gritti, have you gotten to know Lily a little bit?
Yes, we know each other from Dahab. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. So take a look at Lily's dive and tell us what you see here.
Oh, it looks strong.
Line set 43. Gauge on. Lanyard check.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, here's Annabelle Edwards joining us now, who just completed her dive, was looking very strong. And right now, Annabelle, we're looking at Lily Crespi over on the other platform. And Lily is doing 42 meters. And what do you think about Lily's dive, Annabelle? Do you have any comments on that?
She's already in her free fall. It's a little slow of a free fall, but there she is. She
Got
made
her
the plate.
tag. She's coming back up.
Woohoo.
So how did you feel on your dive today, Annabelle?
It was a little strange. I was not comfortable in the warm-ups.
Oh.
And I get over here to the line. It's just perfect conditions, and it seemed easy. That was like the funnest dive I've had this whole competition.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. This is Sherry from Honduras, and she's joining us today and reporting back to Honduras about what we're doing out here. And I was telling her that you were one of the main proponents of trying to get the competition here and getting a big team to come from Hawaii, because we were so excited to be having it here in the Americas.
Uh-huh.
And here comes Lily. She's on her way back up. She's with the safety divers, doing some nice big pulls. Get to the surface. She's looking very relaxed. Timing looks
Big
good.
glides.
She's almost there. Now she can just float up. And there she is.
Thank you, Karla.
Thank you so much for joining us, Gritti, and congratulations.
Your hat is in danger.
All right, over
Put
here
us
on the
under there.
blue platform now, we're going to have Natalie Rudman from South Africa. Natalie is our only competitor from South Africa, but we're glad to have her. She's trying to get the program going again in South Africa. We had it for a while. We had a national group there, and then that kind of disbanded because Hanley Prinsloo, who was running it, has gotten involved in a lot of conservation work, ocean conservation there, and she just didn't have time to run the program anymore. So now we're looking for some new divers to take over, and Natalie is one of them, and we're really glad to have her today. On that line today, we have judging, looking to see who it is. It's Junko and John Wright. Junko is from Japan, John Wright is from New Zealand. We have 6 judges here representing countries all over. We have Ekaterina Romanova from Russia. Our head judge is Radoslav Gaksha from Poland. We have Sava Sava from Cyprus and Alex Rusu from Romania. And as you can see, it's a diverse bunch, so nobody could accuse us of having any sort of
prejudice.
No, not at all. We've got people from all over. So
I did find out, I've learned one thing on this competition is the judges' work is way harder than the competitors. I just say it. It's been
really
easier,
hard.
on this end of it.
Yeah.
But organizations has been excellent, and
Oh, thank you.
safety and the dive by is just amazing. I just love seeing the dives. We've never got to see them so well before.
Oh, I know. We've never. This is for those of you tuning in. This is a brand new thing for us. We've never been able to watch the dive the entire distance. We've kind of seen the top, and then we have a bottom camera down on the plate, and we've missed the entire middle. So it left us with a lot of questions as to our technique, and this way, for good or bad, we can see every single thing we do. But it's great for us, and to be able to have this live streaming and bring the sport of freediving to the world is just so exciting for us. And we're really glad that we've been able to do that and show you what we do in freediving. As I said, I hope you all will join us at aidainternational.org and check us out. And you can look up all the dives that Annabelle has made in her career are listed there in our ranking. We have a ranking list for all of us, including me. Whether you want to see that or not very
Yes,
impressive.
we do. We really appreciate that our judges are competitive freedivers.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference to me. I like that.
Yeah, it does matter, because this isn't something where we just have people who come from outside. We're all actually freedivers. And I was mentioning our organization is run by volunteers. I'm a volunteer, even though I'm the president of the organization. We don't get paid. We do this because we love the sport. Natalie's getting ready to go right now. She's got her noodle. She's moving that over to the side.
5, 6, 7, 8.
And there she goes.
We have Natalie Rudman of South Africa.
In the shade.
Constant no-fin dive to 43 meters. Dive time 2 minutes.
And here she goes, 43 minutes and a dive time of 2 minutes.
National record.
Yeah, national record. And here she goes. We have Lily Crespi joining us from France. Congratulations on a nice dive, Lily. That must be very exciting for you.
Yeah, it was super nice.
Yeah, it
Very
feel
nice.
good today?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. All right, let's see how Natalie's doing. Annabelle and Lily, you want to give us a little play-by-play here on how you think she looks?
Very good.
She looks pretty good, very relaxed. She's starting the free fall.
30 meters.
Yes, straightening up a little. Yeah. Yes, we did get a very nice conditions today. We don't have the waves and the
That's perfect.
current to spin us around. There she
There we
goes.
go.
Touchdown.
Now that is one thing we can't control. We always just wish and hope and pray for good conditions and weather, but sometimes the weather can turn on us, and we have been really, really blessed to have good weather while we've been here. You just never know. And generally, Roatan has very good weather and very good conditions, but of course it's, there's always the freak thing that happens, and It's been great. As you can see, it's relatively flat. The divers aren't having any struggling. They don't have much current here. That is not something you have to deal with. So,
Now she's back to the safety divers.
of all the disciplines, wouldn't you say this one is most affected by current?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because without the additional power of having the fin or being able to pull on the rope, that you can get pushed off the
Yeah.
line quite easily with a lot of current.
And if you have to fight against the current, it's
Yeah.
like
It's
you
really
burn extra oxygen. So
Another thing is your lanyard. If you're at the end of your lanyard, you get the drag. And I've seen it where the lanyards even drug the rope first.
Oh gosh, yeah, that can.
That's not good. Yeah, she made it.
Yeah, here comes Natalie. Gonna take off her nose clip. Give the okay sign.
yeah, very good. I think it was a PB for her. I'm not sure.
She looks good though. Just waiting for the judges. It can seem like forever
Yeah,
while you're
it
sitting there
does.
waiting. It's only a few seconds, but it seems like forever. She's being coached by Lena Balta.
Yay! National record!
That's exciting. And that's John Wright. You can hear in the background from New Zealand announcing that white card. That's great. So that's a national record for her. So coming up now over on the blue platform, our next diver is going to be Julia Wheeler of Australia, and she's announced a 45-meter dive in 146. Julia is a pretty new diver. She's been diving for less than a year. It's got a little. Yeah, sure, just a second. And
It was great. I really enjoyed this dive. This is like my funnest dive of the competition. And I really wanted to say I appreciate having it on the last day because my ears have been giving me some problems.
Oh.
And so having the shallowest dive last was a real bonus. It just seemed like more fun than...
I could hear the cheering for you just before my dive. It was
Yeah.
super nice. The smiling. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
one thing
it's
that we've
easy.
been talking about this week is, for our viewers who don't know, equalizing is one of the things that really can be
It's the limiting factor.
It is, and what equalizing is basically popping your ears. And for those of you who don't know, it's like when you go in a plane and you're going up and all of a sudden your ear sticks and it hurts, if you've ever had that happen. When you dive or you're diving to the bottom of a swimming pool, let's say when you're playing when your kid's trying to retrieve coins and your ears are hurting and you don't know what to do, well, that's what equalizing is. You have to blow air up, open your eustachian tubes, and get your ears to pop. But when you're at depths, without much air to use, and your lungs are compressed, it's really complicated. So these are the things that can be really hard. It takes a lot of practice. There's a nose clip.
Yes.
A nose clip. That's what you do. You blow, you push off of that nose clip to push the pressure up into your. Thank you for joining us, Annabelle.
All right.
It's nice.
It's wonderful. Thank you for so much for your work.
Oh, thank you. And thank you to Honduras for all their support.
Thank you, Honduras.
So glad to come around over here. So Julia's is getting ready for her dive now. As I said, Julia's a relatively new diver. Pepe from Mexico is joining us now. He's a friend of Julia's. He's going to comment on her dives.
She's very strong. I met her in Bali a few years ago.
Oh,
She was doing photography on one of the competitions that we were organizing, and she's very, very strong in the water.
Yeah, she's a very strong and very wide arm span.
Yeah.
yeah, she's tall,
She's
so
a
she has
natural for
long
no
arms and
fins.
long arms and long legs. But you don't, in this particular stroke, you don't want to come out too wide. It's better to stay more narrow. So we'll see how she does on that. It takes some time to be able to get that stroke correct. It's a matter of pushing the water down straight in front of you in order to be the most hydrodynamic and get the most force out of the water. So she's getting ready to go now. And there she goes. She seemed quite nervous on the boat this morning coming over. I think this is, she didn't seem very relaxed. She had her headphones on. It was pretty much contained within herself, wasn't interacting at all. I think she's really thinking about this dive.
Yeah, there's moments for divers where personal projects make it sometimes harder to relax, but at the end of the day, that's what builds up on your experience, and you're enjoying the experience and the feelings no matter what you're facing. She's a very strong diver. She finds relaxation, and she's just starting to push her depth. She's being very conservative, so there's no reason to think she's not going to make it.
Free fall position now. She's able to get into the free fall. She's approaching the plate now. She's just a few meters away. See her.
There we go.
Reaches
Now this
for
is
the
a
tide.
hint here for new divers. You should not look down at the plate like that. That is something you have to practice. You have to set your alarm, but you do not look down to extend your neck like that. That can make you vulnerable to an injury in your throat. So for all of you who want to learn about our sport, who like to do freediving, when you take a course, they will teach you not to do that.
It's interesting to see the speed she's going up
Yes.
at. She definitely beats the average amount of pulls a normal person has to do. She'll
She's very
do 2 to every other person's 4. She's going super fast with no effort. And Julia travels a lot. She's a professional photographer, both land and underwater. And that's what she mainly does. Travels, takes pictures, goes back home and works on them. She has a few projects going, and she's a strong diver to look forward to seeing progress in this world.
Here she comes.
She's also fighting against plastic pollution.
Yay, well done.
We have a number of our freedivers who are very strongly involved in environmental efforts and concerns for ocean issues.
She's happy. Very happy.
Nice dive for Julia. She's happy about that. All right, now coming back over to the blue platform, we're going to be having Aurora also. I believe that she does not want to have her dive broadcasted. I know she requested that the other day. I didn't hear from her today in regards to that, but Lily can comment on it as she's going down. She's Aurora's friend. She's been diving for a long time. She's a very experienced diver. She does, and she's been involved in some filmmaking projects. She has a very interesting background as far as a wide variety of interests in different subjects. She worked on developing scents in the perfume industry, and she's just done all
she's
kinds
involved
of
in many
things.
different projects.
Yeah.
She's a very experienced diver. She's been diving and competing for many years.
Yes. She's been my roommate several times at competitions over the years, so I've gotten to know her, and she's been working with Axel Ramanet on some film production things in freediving and ocean conservancy and nature and
Yeah, she's
animals.
very passionate about conservation and the oceans. And
She's announced a dive today at 50 meters and 2:30.
it should be a very conservative dive for her.
Yeah,
She's done many times.
she has a safety diver there, Julien Board, also a fellow French countryman with her. He's a good friend of hers, so I'm sure he's giving her a little reassurance there, just knowing that he's going to be watching her closely. All of our dives are very carefully monitored. Dive Eye is an additional tool to that, to be able to help us monitor the dives, which makes it nice. We can watch the diver all the way down and make sure that they're not having any kind of trouble or feeling tired or anything, and we can act quickly if we need to in order to give them some assistance. But we have safety divers that are, each line has several safety divers that are ready to assist the diver if need be.
This is like a typical Oha type
Beginning.
of preparation, which is like blowing bubbles in the water and making these little sounds.
Yeah, she does that as a relaxation.
Yeah, it
in
relaxes
preparation
her.
of dive. Yeah, it's just her style. We see it in every dive she does.
Yeah.
So Lily, give us a little insight into this dive center where you're all training. A lot of the Europeans have been training in Egypt and Dahab, and what goes on there, and the number of freedivers there.
Yeah, Dahab is like one of the perfect locations for freediving, especially for Europeans, because it's so close. You can get pretty cheap flights, and the conditions are perfect almost all year. Like during winter it gets a little bit colder, but still very warm compared to other places in Europe. And you have the blue hole, which is like 92 meters deep, right a few meters from the shore, with no waves, no currents, no thermocline, so it's like really, really perfect for us freedivers.
The only issue with that is that because our depths have become so deep, 92 meters is not enough.
Yeah,
now
for some people now it's not enough.
It's great for training,
Yeah.
but for some, now that we even have
For the top
girls
athletes,
going over 100,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not deep enough.
It's not deep enough.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that's true, but it is true.
So Aurore is a very, very sweet diver. She's always very, very warm to everyone. It is
Yeah.
very easy for her to
She's
be
lovely.
thrown off her peace of mind. So we all try to give her encouragement, and she's a very strong diver. I've competed next to her a few times, and it's always a very nice thing to bump into friends that you don't see otherwise because they're on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, it was lovely to be with her in the French team. Like she's always really, really supportive and giving encouragement to people like me or like who are a little bit more new to the competitions. Very, very protective and encouraging. Really, really nice. She's in the free fall now. She's approaching 40 meters.
Yep, here she comes. She has a few meters
She
to
looks
go.
very relaxed.
At this point in a no fins dive, it seems pretty long when you're doing it yourself. It's over a
grabbing
minute
the
already, and you know that you've got this long swim back up. It can be a little disconcerting for the diver because you know you've got to do this long swim. Tomorrow, when we see the men, we'll see some very long swims coming. I don't know what the announcements are going to be, but for the men, the world record is 102 meters. William Trubridge holds that record. He's competing here tomorrow. That dive is well over 3 minutes, or 4 minutes, excuse me, and it's a lot of work and a lot of swimming. It takes actually perfect technique, to be able to do it when you're getting to these kind of depths. So it's really something. Here she comes.
She's meeting the safety
She's
diver.
looking a little bit tired in the arms. Her stroke's falling apart just a tad, but the safety divers are there. If she's struggling too much, she should be able to make it. The positive buoyancy is now going to carry her to the surface.
Yeah, it's having the no fins in the last day. Like, in some points it's really good because if your ears are getting a little bit tired, at least you don't have to go so deep. But you also feel, sometimes some people can feel a little bit tired from the previous days of diving. But she looks very strong. It's an easy dive for her.
Yeah, here she comes. Now that she's floating to the surface, I'm sure she's feeling much better. Here she is.
There we
See how she
go.
does.
She's breathing, taking off the nose clip, giving the
She looks
sign.
good. Just wait for the card now.
Waiting for the card. And she has the tag.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's bad on this. And that's a well-deserved white card from Aurora and a nice big smile for her. And good. Now we're going to have Julia join us, who just completed a successful dive on her no fins. Congratulations, Julia. That looked really nice. Tell us how you're feeling today.
Yeah, I was feeling a little bit nervous about this dive actually.
I could see that when we were taking the boat out. You were not participating or even making eye contact with anyone who was there, so I could see that you were a little intense.
Yeah, but I was really happy when I saw Trista in the water because I didn't have a coach for this dive. I don't usually have a coach, and she knows me really well, so she kind of just saw me and was like, it was kind of...
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's good.
She coached me and it really, really, really helped and got me through that dive,
good.
definitely. So,
yeah, it probably, for all of us who compete in any sport, the nerves can just be, and it's so self-defeating. You're trying to tell yourself not to be nervous because you know it's not going to help.
Yeah.
But then again, you just don't know how not to be nervous.
Exactly.
So I really battle with that. When I was swimming, I used to vomit before every race, which really wasn't productive. But I didn't take freediving quite as seriously. I suppose it was because I wasn't that good at it. So I figured, oh well, I'll just do the best I can.
I think with this particular discipline, because I'm also quite new to the sport, not having, the ability to hold the line or have something on your feet to propel you up, and you're completely relying on your own kind of maneuvers. So, I think that makes it a little bit more challenging in a way mentally. So, I did it, so I'm happy.
That's great. That's great. No, you looked good, and we were commenting with your long arms and legs. You can push a lot of water, which is an advantage. You don't have to do as many strokes, and that makes it easier. Coming over on the white platform, we have Sofia Tokani of Sweden. Sofia has been diving for quite some time. As I mentioned in our earlier broadcast, she is a scientist. She works for a pharmaceutical company. She just trains part-time because she has a real job in Sweden, which, as you can imagine, is not the most conducive place to be doing depth training. But we always enjoy her presence. She's announced 51 meters in 2 minutes, and this would be a national record for Sofia. I sure hope she can make this dive. She'd be very excited to get this.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, she's had a little trouble the last few days with little small things that have made her dives not be a white card. She had a pull issue the other day on a turn and some things like that. So let's hope she makes this dive. It would be great for her. Here she goes. She's off. She's starting to do her strokes.
It's got a nice bit of distance. It's a nice stroke there.
Yeah, she does have a nice stroke.
She's got a great technique. That's lovely.
As you get down deeper, I'm sure you can feel it, Julia, it's easier to pull. When you first start, you have to pull so hard because of the buoyancy, and you use a lot of energy. I know I would count my strokes just waiting for that 15th stroke to do one great big pull and then try to get into a free fall. It's a lot of work.
And she's holding the lanyard there? Yeah. It is quite a lot of work because you just want to kind of get in the flow. You want to get the momentum, and that's all you're thinking about. So you're just putting in a lot of effort near the surface. But then once you hit the free fall, it's just so nice and worth it. You can just relax.
Then you grab your tag and you swim all that way back. There she is. Great. Yes. She's made it. Let's hope that she can get back up to the surface here and get this national record. I would be really excited for Sofia if that works out for her today.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, she deserves that.
She's got such a nice stroke down too. Really nice and full.
She's you have to do your strokes, quicker together as far as the timing goes, because you don't have the advantage of positive buoyancy, and
you can't glide as much.
No. If you do, you start going in reverse, and that's one thing you do. And it's the same thing on the way down. You start floating back to the top if you're not swimming hard enough. Yeah, it can be really difficult, especially if you have to pinch your nose to equalize. That's the worst thing on the way down. If you're pinching your nose, you're floating back up on every stroke. So you have to learn how to equalize off the nose good. I remember when I first started with the mask, I was going up and down like this on the line.
Oh my god. I can't even use a mask anymore so much. I don't really enjoy it as much. It's just having that feeling of having the water on the face and the nose clip. Oh, here she comes.
Here she comes. Let's hope that. I'm really hoping she gets this. Good. She looks good.
Yeah, looking good.
Good. Get that nose clip off. Oh, she looks good.
Oh, that's nice.
She looks great. Now, she looks like she's wearing a mask, but in fact, those are fluid goggles. Those are big goggles that fill with water. And that way, then you don't have to equalize the mask. Otherwise, the mask will sink right to would stick right to your face. So these type of goggles fill with water, and it's a little hard to get used to because your vision is off a little bit at depth, but so let's see what happens with this card here with Sofia.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
that's a white card and a national record. That's wonderful.
That's awesome.
That's great for
Fantastic.
Sophia. Very good. Sherry said she is going to be leaving us now.
Yes.
She's having a little. She's got some other things she needs to do here this morning. But thank you so much for joining us, and thank you
guys
again to Honduras
having
for
me here.
all your assistance. We're so glad to
We'll
be
be
here.
catching up soon.
That's great. We hope to be back next year. Of course, we will be for the Caribbean Cup and maybe for another World Championships after that.
Yeah,
It'd be
great,
to have you.
fantastic. I
Thanks
hope
so
you all
much.
have fun and enjoy the competition as much as you can.
It's been
Best of
awesome.
luck.
It's been
Yes.
amazing.
Great,
Thank you
fantastic.
so much.
All
Thank
right,
you so
so
much.
bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Cool.
So,
Who's
coming
next?
over here on the blue platform, we now have Helena Bourdillon from the UK.
Helena. She's awesome.
She's announced 53 meters and a dive time of 2:25. And I know she's really looking forward to this dive. And let's see what she can do. This is getting into the big numbers now. 53 is this will be a good dive for her if she can get a white card on this. So it's great.
Definitely. She's such a go-getter. She's got such a great attitude.
She's really fun.
Yeah, she's really, really fun. And that'd be awesome. I hope she gets this. That'd be great.
She's got 1 minute now to her start. You can see she's using a neck pillow to support her. We've noticed throughout the week that there's various styles of support or non-support. Some people hang on to the line. Some people use a noodle. Some people
What do you
use
prefer?
these.
What do you prefer when you're diving?
I like to be upright on a noodle is what I do. I just find it easier to breathe. I wear a very large neck weight, so that's pushing on my throat, and it's really uncomfortable if I'm on my back. When I took my first lessons from William Trubridge, he at that time was upright, and so was I. He has since switched to being on his back, but I just learned that way, and that's what I do. And it's because, though, I wear so much weight.
Yeah.
So
I might try a pillow if I go onto my back. It looks quite comfortable.
the only thing about it is you have to make sure that you can roll over and that you get rid of that pillow, because we've had several divers, we've actually made jokes about it. Deepest dive with neck pillow.
Oh, really?
It gets caught somewhere. It can get caught on your fin. You can get entangled in it. It just adds an
What would
extra.
you do?
I know. So you can imagine it can be complicated.
Yeah, definitely.
So I personally don't want to deal with extra things because it just makes it another element of kind of the unknown of something that can go wrong. So
Yeah, you wouldn't want to take a neck pillow down to 51 meters.
no, they come back, they start floating up and they're all compressed and squished, but it makes it extremely hard to dive dragging some flotation device like that. So, and this is a very large neck pillow, but let's see, she may just pull it out on her own and then set it aside. I don't know we'll see what she does here with it. Nope, she's going to let it pop out.
And
there
here she goes. Nice.
Good. Well, no problem. There it is. It's just floating on the surface.
It's a really nice duck dive. Oh, is she EQing there? Oh, no. Yep. So there's a bit of a nose clip issue at the beginning, it looked like, and now she's into it. Nice glide. Oh, that's awesome. She's got such a beautiful stroke. Keeping her legs together, pointing the toes.
Helena actually hurt a shoulder earlier this week. She slid a little bit when she was resting on the platform, and she's got those
she's got tape on her shoulders,
tapes.
that's
Yeah,
right.
she's been watching over it very carefully, carrying everything heavy with that specific shoulder.
It's that
so let's hope
kinesiology tape that a lot of you'll see Olympians using.
Oh, keep going. She's got a nice little...
she's floating along there. She's at 37 meters right
very
now.
relaxed. So she's done jewelry for burlesque kind of shows for a very long time, and she's become a diver more into a lifestyle in the last few years, but she's always enjoyed water, and she's a very particular person to be around.
Oh, awesome.
Easy way down to the plate.
She is.
Awesome.
This actually represents a pretty huge dive.
Yes.
I know as well.
Yeah, 53 meters is a big dive. It really is. So as you can see the dive time, and she's already at 125, and she's just on her way up. You have to have a good breath hold and be able to conserve your oxygen on these dives with no fins, because this swimming up is using a lot of energy.
Her technique is very good though. She's very relaxed, still streamlined.
She's nice and cruisy. She's
nice
coming
and
up.
rhythm. Yeah.
That is quite nice. She looks really comfortable in the water. she does have a nice pull down there. That looks really nice and clean.
Yeah,
and
I don't really see any
propelling her
shoulder.
up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. First safety. It's always really awesome seeing the first safety on your no fins dive.
Yeah.
Because you're like, yes, I'm at 30 meters.
almost
I know where I am. It's awesome.
I know. To me, I always say to myself, "Okay, I got this.
Yeah.
And then on the way up, I'm going through my protocol in my head. Okay, goggles. Okay.
And also it's nice that you don't usually have any equalizing problems because your constant no fins will also be shallower than your...
Oh, breathe. No slip.
He's got it.
Come on, Helena.
I
Yes.
was worried for a second.
Keep breathing.
So yeah, I gotta keep
Just
breathing.
got a tag and good. Yeah.
Sometimes you get so excited you forget to breathe. You're so glad you made it, you forget to breathe, and before you know it, you're getting a little woozy. And the first thing to remember to do is breathe, though.
Yep. That looked great though. That looked like a really nice dive.
Very deserved white card.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
She's gonna be so stoked with that. She's gonna
yeah.
be so happy.
She did 55 in training the other day, and she's obviously decided to pull that back, and it's great to see her the white card.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys realise or not, I've seen Karla earlier on that dive now puts Helena second in the UK no fins list behind Sarah Campbell. So
Oh, wow.
she's just 4 years of hard work, and that's amazing.
Yeah, Adam just mentioned Sarah Campbell, and she is a very well-known freediver. She was one of the first women to go past 100 meters in constant weight. She is a very interesting story. She's a friend of mine, and we have done some teaching together and training and different things. And she lives in Egypt. She's British, but lives in Egypt and works full-time as a Kundalini yoga instructor and teaching freediving, coaching really. She doesn't actually teach, she coaches people. And she started freediving, and within a year she had gotten the records in every discipline. She just really focused on it, and this Kundalini that she practices, she attributes her success to that of everything that had enabled her to be so successful. So she's a tiny little thing too. Sarah is less than 5 feet tall. She and I are known for having the smallest feet in freediving. We both have very small feet. So our next diver up is going to be on the white platform. It is Anna von Betticher of Germany. And this is going to be the same depth, 53 meters, and a dive time of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I was talking to Anna the other day. Anna and I have been friends for a long time, and I said, well, you're doing your favorite thing, CNF? She says, no, it's not my favorite, but I've been working on it lately. So
that's good.
She was working on it at Vertical Blue this year, and she's been trying to extend her depth. She trains in Egypt as well, and she owns a bookstore in Germany and lives part-time in London also, and so she's quite well traveled. She has a job working with the German Navy, training them. She's a technical diver. She has all kinds of abilities and interests and can do all kinds of things. Yeah, she's just really fabulous.
It's so cool seeing how many different professions all of the divers have. We've got quite a few medics, and it's incredible what everyone does. Mechanics and the age variation as well. Freediving. And Carrie just walked in front of the camera.
Yeah, that was Carrie. Yeah, thanks, Carrie. We got a nice side view there.
View of your butt. Just like
Carrie Holloway just came on board. I'm going to try to get a few words out of her in just a second. She is emergency room physician. She works with our medical board here. We just had a meeting last evening discussing more things on advancements of treatment and what we need to have on deck as far as equipment goes, what kind of training, what kind of procedures we use. And here goes Anna. Anna's off. Anna in her silver suit.
So that's 3, 4, 5. I always count my strokes on the way down. It just keeps me focused. But then when I get past 3, I usually I try and keep counting. But yeah, anything to distract myself sometimes. How's your no fins? Do you like it?
I started with no fins.
You did?
Yes, I first started with no fins. In my first competition I did, the World Championships in 2009, I competed in no fins, and I didn't own a fin, so I did no fins. And the night before the constant weight discipline, William told me that I could do a fin dive if I wanted to because there was no one else there from the U.S. And I said, okay, well, I'll give it a try, even though I'd never put a fin on before. So that was kind of interesting. I borrowed one from a guy who wore really thick socks and keepers, and Alexi showed me how to turn. And the next day, I did a 50-meter constant weight dive.
Holding the line.
So here she is.
Put a hand on the line. Nice.
Coming down, she's at the plate right now, 53 meters. That's great. So now she'll do a pull. That zone that you see there, you can kind of see some stripes. That's known as the candy cane because it's red and white striped. You're allowed to pull within that zone, but only in that zone. Any pull outside of that zone or grab of the line will result, if it's a pull, it's a disqualification. If it's a grab, it's a penalty of 5 points per grab. So you're not allowed to use that line. And here she comes. She's got some nice big strokes. Pushing forward. You can see she's pushing the water down in front of her.
She's got a really nice pull down there.
Yeah, she does.
That's lovely.
Nice kick.
It's just about keeping that consistency with the kick and the glide and the pull. And just keeping that rhythm happening all the way up and all the way down. It's really important.
She's been training really hard with CrossFit, and at this stage of the dive, that kind of training can really be helpful because you're starting to feel the lactic in your muscles. Just like if you were on a run, your legs start to burn, you get that same feeling of leg burn and arm burn. So if you're doing some training such as CrossFit, which is interval training, it could be helpful for that. Here she comes. All the photographers are in view. She's got all the safeties. It looks like a huge crowd. She's certainly not alone out there.
No, she's not. It's so great seeing everyone when you're coming off.
Yeah, and here she is. Let's see how she does. She looks relaxed.
Hook, Anna, hook. Hook, Anna. Don't stop. Okay, sign.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she looks strong on that dive.
That was really nice.
So, that's great.
So many cameras. Wow.
Yeah. Well, as we've gone on here, we get more and more visitors, and everyone. It's been great with having dive out here. We've had a lot more visibility. People are starting to know about what we do here in freediving, and we get more spectators, more everything. So it's great. I'm really happy.
I was watching it in San Simon yesterday, and they were like, Terry. I was watching it in San Simon yesterday, and there were so many people off a cruise ship, and the bar was just packed, and so many people were like, what are they doing? This is amazing. It was so cool to see so many people taking such an interest. Well done!
Congratulations to you too.
And
awesome. Happy birthday for yesterday.
Thank you.
We have Helena now joining us after a very successful, impressive 53-meter dive. You seem like you're still a little tired from that swim up, huh?
It's kind of the excitement. When I was talking with my coach, Gus, in Egypt, and we were planning what I was going to do here, having not done no fins for over 2 years and only just had a lesson a couple of months ago, I was like, I'll be really happy if I get to 40. And the training, the conditions have been amazing.
And you got a bad shoulder.
And I got a squiffy shoulder, and I managed to do 53, so I'm over the moon.
That is
absolutely
just fabulous.
over the moon.
That's what we've been talking about. When you have good conditions, you don't have a lot of current, and in no fins, no current is extremely important because otherwise the whole thing can be so hard that you just can't even move. You're not even moving. You're just sitting there on the line. So that was just lovely. It just looked great, and we were just comparing you to Sarah Campbell, your fellow.
And now the second deepest.
Yep, second to Sarah, which is quite impressive. Knowing Sarah's CV and history in freediving, that is a great company.
I've been very lucky to actually do a course with her, and she's a great instructor and a bit of an icon, not surprisingly, after what she's achieved. And yes, I am gunning for records if I possibly ever can, but I've still got an awfully long way to go, and a lot of hard work before I get there. But I'm really pleased with today.
Well done.
You really should be. That That was really.
You have a really nice
beautiful.
technique too. Like you're very consistent.
That's very flattering coming from you. Thank you.
No, that's okay.
Thanks.
No, just you have a really nice consistency. Your legs like constantly together. Your arm strokes. It was just very fluid and yeah, just that consistent, consistent stroke, and that's really important. That I find. I don't know.
I put in some hours in the pool to try and get the kick right, which was horrific 2.5 months ago. And, played off anyway.
Yeah. All right, we have our next diver now. This is Alenka Artnik coming up on the blue platform. Alenka was our gold medalist in the constant weight with fin discipline, doing 100 meters, which is a huge dive. She's only the, I think, 5th woman in history. I think
4th in competition.
In competition. Sorry, I had done it outside of competition. But behind Natalia Malchanova, Hanoka Hirose, and Alessia Zucchini. Alessia is the current world record holder. And here goes Alenka. She's announced a dive of 54 meters and 2 minutes and 20 seconds. This is also a national record attempt for Slovenia. So let's see how she does. I think she's been focusing mostly on with fins, so for obvious reasons, if you're in that 100-meter range, that is something to... So here she goes. Oh,
that's not her.
No.
That's you.
Yeah, that's her.
She looks
Here she
nice
goes.
and relaxed in there.
Yeah, she's already in her free fall. She's coming up at 40 meters. We also have sonar here. That's over on the platform, and the safety divers are watching that. You can hear that number being called out behind us. So we have a double redundancy sort of system here with the dive eye and the sonar. Everyone watching everything to make sure everyone is doing just fine. And here she comes.
Nice.
That looked very good.
And nice and easy, coming back up.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got a really strong kick. It's nice.
She's a very strong diver in general, so it's just a matter of, sometimes though when you love that monofin, taking that off is a little bit, I know for many years Alexei didn't even bother much with no fins. And then once he got so good with the fin, he started working on free immersion and no fins because he thought, okay, well I've got this, so let me work on the other things.
Let's have a little bit of fun elsewhere, yeah.
His mother, of course, held the records in all the disciplines except no limits, and the only reason she didn't have that record is because she didn't like it. So, and she didn't want to do it. So, and currently we do not recognize no limits as a discipline in AIDA at all on any level. It's found to be just too dangerous. So, no limits is the diving that one does with a sled and then it uses a balloon to propel yourself back up to the surface. There's actually no physical involvement other than equalizing. But because the dives were getting so deep, there was no way for us to be able to figure out how to make it safe and have people not have a stroke in the process.
Here she comes to the
Here she comes.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
As elegant as always.
Yes. That looked very solid. Very, very solid.
Very elegant.
Very poised.
Very poised.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looked like she could turn around and do it again if she wanted to. I don't think she
probably
wants
wouldn't
to.
want
No,
to.
probably wouldn't
But
want
yeah.
to, but
Yeah, lovely dive.
Like a really nice, easy dive.
yeah. Just waiting now to hear what the judges have to say. They're conferring with each other, signaling. Junko will give the card. That's
Wonderful. Wonderful.
nice.
Excellent. I'm going to leave you guys to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Karla.
much, Helena. Thank you for joining us,
No
and
worries.
congratulations again on a
Thank
really
you.
great dive.
Have a good
That's
afternoon.
wonderful. All right, now Pepe's going to come back and talk about his friend Camila from Mexico. One of his chica friends from Mexico, and this is going to be a nice dive for Camila. She's been working on her no fins a lot with her partner Dean Schaus. 56 meters in a dive time of 2:25, and
Camila es una apneísta muy fuerte, es muy joven y ha encontrado la manera de balancear su vida personal, profesional, tanto en sus estudios en Monterrey como apneísta. Tiene varios proyectos o adjunto.
Sorry, I'm sneaking out. I've got a coach.
thank you for joining us, and congratulations again.
Adjunto a varios proyectos medioambientales, ha puesto varias campañas de fundraising para poder venir a este tipo de eventos y de manera exitosa. Tiene varios patrocinadores fuertes. Su influencia como apneísta viene mucho de la escuela Vertical Blue. Cada apneísta viene de un instructor prominente y toda esta influencia lleva a usar las técnicas de manera diferente. El acercamiento a la profundidad debe ser siempre con paciencia. Y Camila es muy buen ejemplo de empezar temprano y empujar números muy fuertes a esta edad, que para en algún momento podría ser también números de récord mundial.
For those of you who speak English, I'll say a few things that Pepe said. He said that Camila is very young. In fact, she's 21 years old. She's a university student, and she's supposed to be at university right now, but she got some kind of permission to start a little later this year. She'll be back at school, though, next week. And we're really glad to hear she's here. Her coach, Dean Shout's part of the Vertical Blue School in the Bahamas. Joining us now, we have a couple of our more interesting characters who have just jumped onto the boat, Alexei Molchanov and Adam Stern. They'll be jumping in here in just a second to commentate on the rest of our dives, our deep dives. But Pepe will be translating for us in Spanish for Camila. She's getting ready to go right now on this 56-meter dive, which is quite a substantial depth.
Yes, she's actually a record holder for several of the techniques and disciplines. This one is not a particular record, but it's definitely a very strong dive. We will have mostly less depth, but a lot more effort. Camila básicamente está haciendo un buceo muy fuerte. No es un récord nacional, ella por el momento tiene ya este récord nacional, pero sí es un buceo muy fuerte. Es mucho más exigente esta disciplina en cuanto a la resistencia, a la apnea, a la eficiencia, a la relajación, que en la ecualización, pues la mayoría de los apneístas van a lograr profundidades mayores en las otras disciplinas. En esta se vuelve un factor más fuerte la exigencia del no traer ni el uso de la cuerda al jalar para abajo y de regreso, ni el uso de aletas. Se hace un estilo de pecho modificado y en los primeros metros de superficie debe hacerse más frecuente, más fuerte, porque se trabaja en contra de la flotación del traje y de los pulmones. Ahora está en fase de free fall, caída libre. Es una fase agradable en la que el cuerpo se relaja y se concentra la persona en ecualizar. Debes mantener una distancia apropiada de la cuerda, mantener el cuerpo recto, una postura hidrodinámica. Y a medida que la profundidad comprime los pulmones y el traje, tu flotación es aún menor y aceleras. Esto trabaja en tu contra cuando vienes de regreso, pues tienes que dar jalones más frecuentes y con más fuerza para ir en contra de este jalón hacia abajo. Esta es la razón por la que muchos lugares tienen la leyenda de que el agua te succiona hacia abajo. Eso no es verdad. Está llegando perfectamente al plato, coloca la etiqueta en el velcro que tiene en la pierna y tiene una técnica muy limpia, muy bien trabajada. Viene a un ritmo muy bueno. El tiempo es de 1.26, todavía le queda un buen camino hasta los safeties, pero viene con muy buen ritmo y se ve muy relajada. Su postura es buena. Hoy es su último buceo en este campeonato mundial y me parece que sus resultados han sido muy satisfactorios. Ahora tendrá que concentrarse en tareas y en exámenes en la escuela. Aunque Camila tiene ya el apoyo de inclusive algunas entidades del gobierno para algunas competencias, siempre está dispuesta a negociar nuevos apoyos y colaboraciones en proyectos ecológicos con el plástico. Es una persona muy fuerte. Estos últimos 10 metros, los pulmones ya tienen un tamaño un poquito mayor y ayudan a flotar hacia la superficie. Es importante no ir demasiado rápido. Hay que enfrentar a los jueces. Su coach parece tenerla bastante tranquila. Un protocolo bastante limpio. Hubo ahí un pequeño gesto después de la señal, pero me parece que dijo el I'm OK que termina el protocolo a tiempo. Lo determinarán los jueces en un momento. Hay 15 segundos del momento que la vía aérea sale del agua a que se debe terminar el protocolo, pero aún hay 15 segundos más adicionales en los que la apneísta debe permanecer fuera del agua. Demuestra que tiene la etiqueta testigo de que llegó a la profundidad deseada. están deliberando a ver si su protocolo fue limpio. Prepara la tarjeta. Y bien, tiene tarjeta blanca, un buceo limpio. Muchas felicidades, Camila.
Very nice dive for
El abrazo del
Camila.
amor y listos.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Pepe.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us and giving some translations for our Spanish viewers. And
No
now,
problem.
here's our two colorful characters waiting on deck is Alexei Molchanov of Russia and one of our co-gold medalists in constant weight, and he's got Adam with him who had a little bit of a problem on his...
Bronze medalist in free immersion.
Yeah, oh, okay, let's get that in too, make sure he got the bronze medal as well. We're so used to him getting medals, it's just sort of old hat, but anyway, we got Adam with us as well, and from Australia, and we're getting into the deep dives here with the ladies today.
We are. It's Australia doing a 57-meter no-fin dive, which will be a national record for Mexico, to my knowledge.
Yeah, so it's our second Mexicana in a row. We had Camila, and now we have Australia. Mexicana, feminine. And both of those girls are actually extremely loving and feminine. There's no denying that they are ladies.
No, they are ladies indeed. And they're also good friends. Even though they are competitors, they're good friends and they get on really well.
Yeah. And it's pretty big depth as well, because even I remember not so long ago, like 62 meters was a world record.
That's
and
right.
something like there, 62, 63, 64.
Right. Well, at the last few World Championships, a 57-meter dive would have been a medal dive.
Yes,
Yeah.
And now it's gotten to...
It was a gold medal dive like 2 years
It
ago.
was.
For Mandy.
Mm-hmm.
Mandy won with
It was with a 57-meter dive, and now that's really kind of ordinary, kind of middle of the road.
Well, the women have just been improving their depth so much.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it ordinary so much.
It's not ordinary.
Not for me, but maybe.
Well, we might have some surprises for the
That's
deep
true.
divers, and then these dives might be actually medal dives too.
That's true. That can always happen. You never know. That's exactly what happened in our last two events with the men. Really,
We haven't seen it with the women so far. So
no, they've been pretty solid. Yeah, but the men definitely.
Solid and sensible.
Yeah. With the men, you know, a white card, you never know what what role that will get you in your placing in the list. I was really surprised with just some dives that being solid and getting a white card can make a huge difference. So but you can't be in the game unless you get a white card.
That's right.
Dolphins is the hardest discipline physically. It's like easiest equalization wise and narcose wise, but it's hardest physically. So there we can see some hypoxia, like for girls. Actually, it's even harder for girls. Well, guys, they dive deep, so they have hypoxia too, but this discipline is really tricky. You work a lot, your muscles work a lot, so your surface you can be hypoxic.
It seems to be the discipline where there is the biggest gap between what a woman and a man can achieve in terms of the world
and
records.
that just must be physical strength, you know. It has to be. Because, you're right, it does. Because the women's record is, over 70 meters now, which is extremely impressive, but the men's record is over 100, so.
10 seconds. All right, Australia's getting ready for a final breath.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put your clock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Just taking her final breaths. A few little packs. As we mentioned earlier, the diver must depart before 29 seconds. And there she goes.
Karla, with your swimming background, what do you think about Australia's descent technique here?
Her brother is a swim coach, so I think she has a little inside information, and she trains in swimming, so that gives her an advantage. We were saying earlier with some of the girls that were here that a couple of them were saying that they had not grown up as swimmers, and it's been extremely hard for them to learn, especially the kick. The kick seems to be really difficult for people who don't know how to frog kick.
Absolutely.
So, but she looks nice and straight on the line.
She certainly does.
It looks efficient. It looks efficient. It's also different technique than in the pool. Like you need to adjust the technique when you dive deep. You would probably be wider with the leg kick. You will be a bit wider with the arm pull. but everyone has their unique style.
Well, especially here, Australia's chosen to free fall in that streamlined technique with the arms above the head.
That's interesting.
I think you sacrifice a bit of relaxation, but you certainly move faster through the water.
Yeah, and with no fins it's actually important because with no fins you move pretty slow.
Absolutely.
Here she comes. I was telling our viewers earlier that the stroke that they do is similar. It's a variation of the stroke that swim breaststrokers do off the wall, the underwater
The
we call
keyhole
it.
stroke or
It's
something.
the underwater stroke.
Yep.
It's the stroke that you use at the start and at the turns. It's not like the surface stroke at all because that stroke is very short and choppy and employs a dolphin kick in it. They're allowed a little bit of one anyway. There's, but the underwater is more like this stroke. But I found with my students, and maybe both of you have found too, that the kick itself can be a little bit of a challenge because if you're not used to getting your hips opened wide enough, some people just cannot seem to do it. And so you
It
need
can take years to develop that.
Yes,
proper
you
technique.
need to do exercises in order to have that hip opening.
She's coming up quite slow and relaxed, and
Yeah, but she has
very comfortable.
It looks like she has a good glide, so she should be in control. Unless she's getting tired, which is also possible.
Yeah. She looks like she's a little tired.
It's just 50 meters to the surface.
She should be able to float here pretty quick and not have to take too many strokes.
Yeah, it's important not to burn that excess energy, especially
this
in no fins.
this stroke was a bit like tired. Yeah.
Alright, here we go.
No.
And she is
hypoxic.
Blackout.
She's about, she didn't get that.
Just a surface blackout, and it seems like she's already being brought around by the safety divers.
Yeah, it was probably like, I would say like a meter under. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
A little bit.
And this expansion of lungs, this expansion of volume really plays a big role in freediving. This last 10 meters.
Yeah.
Oh, she's back.
Australia's back with us.
Yeah,
She's looking around.
Ah, that was
surprised.
so close. That's such a shame.
Yeah, it is. But you know that is
I'm
a
okay,
long
She's
dive.
smiling. She's alright.
It's a very physically taxing dive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was saying, that no fins, they might bring more surprises with girls, and with men tomorrow as well.
Yes, and we'll see some people getting tired on their way up, and in the men as well. It's
you can probably imagine there was a bit of excess pressure on her as well after Camila had just successfully completed her dive.
Yeah, there was something similar to like me diving after David Mullins.
Absolutely.
After Dave Mullins made his dive and looked very strong on it, and Alex had to go next, and he told me later that put a little pressure on him, knowing that he couldn't just relax. He had to make the dive. So.
Oh, well, lucky Alex is quite accustomed to pressure.
I did assure Alex though that when we did the start list, it's the judges and I were working on that start list. We tossed a coin to see who would go first. So it was all fair and square, and that's how it came out. You were the second, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Was that the same deciding for who would go first between Amber Burke and Sayuri today as well?
Yeah, that's what we do. We toss a coin because somebody might say there's an advantage or disadvantage for being first or second, whatever it is. So we toss a coin. Whenever there's an equal announcement like that, we toss a coin. We always do that at Vertical Blue with you and Will as well. I always make sure that nobody has a particular advantage. And
so there is a next diver starting in a couple of minutes, Jennifer Wendland. 57 meters.
She's been doing some really nice dives in the other discipline. A very consistent performer.
And she's a young diver as well.
Yes, she is.
How old is she?
I don't know how old she is. The ladies are a little reluctant to say oftentimes. But she has just, in the last couple of years, she's gone to Egypt and been training. She's from Germany, and she has really been working on it, and I have been very impressed with the increase in her numbers that she has made. It's just been fabulous. There's Estrella, as you can see, she's just fine.
She's fine. She's telling the stories. Maybe she's telling the dreams she had.
She's talking to her friend, Hector Ruiz, who's one of our emergency physicians here. The other one behind her, Dr. Jose Blanco. We have 3 doctors present with all kinds of equipment.
It's handy to have doctors around the competition in general, because the other day...
It's been really funny. It's poor Hector and Jose, they have been working like fiends. We've had everything from urchin spines in the foot to cut and fall to heat stroke. We've had everything. They have been a little emergency room right at the Mayan Princess Hotel. Every day I get a message. Karla, can you find Hector or Jose for me? I need. And it's been great for Carrie, who's sitting over here to the right of me, because usually she gets stuck with that job, and this year she's been off the hook. She can actually concentrate on her own competition for once. She's got some other guys to take over those urchins fine.
Jennifer Wenman is just about to start her dive now, and she takes her final breath through her snorkel. Which
we saw it before. We already discussed like that. She did it before, and I didn't see any other diver doing this.
No, not many divers do.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a technique that's kind of, I guess I would say, old-fashioned maybe?
Definitely.
People
It's
used to do.
old-fashioned.
Yeah.
It's maybe more relaxing.
Yeah.
It might help with relaxation. And it saves actually some movements on the turn. If you prepare on the back, you need to turn to dive, and here you just dive right away.
Down. Yeah. And you know, there's no rule about this, how you start. That's all individual preference. Whatever works for you.
Every diver develops their own comfort zone for different things.
Yeah.
I think for some people, lying like that with their face in the water kind of helps them tune out all the hustle and bustle that's going on pre-dive.
That's true. That's true. So she has a good technique.
Yes.
The leg kick is there. The arm pull is there. So
There's a good interval between each of her strokes, so you can see she's getting a good bit of glide and a lot of momentum with each of her strokes.
And then by now she's at 22 meters, which is a good speed for girl. No fins. We'll see how it will work on the way up, because sometimes if the diver have easy time going on the way, through the first few meters on the way down, then it might be tiring to come up.
That's right, and she has swum quite deep. She started her. She's
still swimming. It's like 40.
At 40 meters, which is
like
quite
me.
deep.
She keeps swimming
till the end.
Yeah, I swim the whole way, which is one reason I'm not very successful.
The speed is 0.7 as we see, which is alright speed for a woman to free fall, 0.8.
I think she's definitely opted for a relaxed free fall position here as opposed to a streamlined one, which is there's a lot to say for it as well.
Are you going to be doing a no-fins dive tomorrow, Adam?
No, I think I'm
You're
done for the comp. Yeah, I'm on holidays now.
Yeah, okay, you can join me here then.
Absolutely.
Because Alexei will be competing tomorrow. He's become a fan of no-fins just in the last few years.
Well,
he's really started working on it.
I do. Okay. Well, and it looks good on the way up as well.
Very good.
It looks good. A little bit wide, like leg kick.
Yes, she seems to be employing the thigh a little bit too much.
Yeah. What is the speed now?
I think it seems she's coming up quite fast. And she's going to meet the first safety diver now. There we go.
There he is. It's always a nice feeling when you see them come in and you know you're almost there. 25 meters, here she comes.
She looks confident so far.
I suppose the last sort of 5 and 10 meters is where we see
signs of tiredness.
Yeah.
And you can see that when athlete is getting tired, his technique is breaking down.
That's right. But her technique looks quite fine.
Yeah. She looks up.
Yep.
Maybe to help to position herself.
So she can make sure she faces the judges for her service protocol for sure.
She's still to the side to them.
All right.
She's with the back to the judges. Turn around.
Turn around.
There she goes.
Oh, that looks good. That looks good. That looks solid.
That looks solid. Unless the judges start to think that she was doing protocol with the back to them, but she didn't.
It's hard to see from this view, but I mean, I would think that would be a white card. She's got the tag.
She had herself together enough mentally to be able to get herself turned around.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole point of the protocol.
Congratulations, Jennifer
Nice job for Jennifer. That's a very big dive.
Yes, it is. And is that a national record for Germany as well?
It is a national record at 57 meters, yes. Very nice.
And we don't have many divers after her, so it could be a medal
it
as
could
well.
Be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you just never know. Coming up over on the blue platform now, we have Sofia Gomez Uribe of Colombia.
59 meters.
59 meters in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. She has her coach with her.
It's not a national record, is it?
No, this is a fairly conservative no-fin dive for Sofia.
What is her personal best, dude?
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say publicly, but let's just say it's
more than 60.
It's in the 60s.
It's in the 60s.
Okay.
She'd be upset. She'd be upset at me if I said.
Oh,
Let's just say she does more than this. She's got her coach with her, Jonathan Sunex. Jonathan has been commenting with us throughout the week. He is her coach. He's also runs a freediving school in Dominica. We have a competition coming up in October, Blue Element. And if you have an interest in competing, let us know. You can reach us at aidainternational.org, or you can contact Johnny directly, Jonathan Sunex.
Yeah, I tell you what, Dominica is on par with the best conditions that I've ever had for freediving. So I definitely recommend it to anyone who wants to enter a fantastic competition and really develop themselves as a freediver.
And Johnny is he's going to be our new safety coordinator for AIDA International. He's wonderful experience in safety and knows how to run a competition. So, excuse me, it's always important that you know when you go to competition that it's going to be safe.
100%. Karla's choking on something. I think a fly flew into her mouth.
Cheers. Okay, so it's a couple of minutes before Sophia to start, and it's interesting that she uses a model I developed for the pool. It's like the wetsuit she uses.
Oh yes, that's
without the arms and without the hood.
Was that your design?
It's completely my design. I developed and built the suit for competitive pool disciplines, and I use it myself for pool disciplines. And now everybody seems to love this model and use it at the depth as well. So it's very interesting. I was thinking about to use it at depth as well. It might help with a better arm grip.
For sure. I think also a lot of freedivers want to wear the least amount of neoprene, or the least amount, like their wetsuit to be the smallest of fins as possible for no fins, so they can wear a smaller amount of weight.
Right. Yeah, this wetsuit we do with Oceaner. It's a Canadian production. Our really high quality production. All of freedivers loves it. William uses orca suits. He always used it as far as I remember him.
We have joining us now the world record holder for the men in this event, William Trubich. William, come on over and give us a few words and give us some comments on some of these dives that we got here.
We can fit all in.
Yeah.
Hey guys. I haven't actually seen any of the dives. I just popped out here to have a look and maybe pick up some technique from the girls.
Yeah, you could use a few tips, I think.
Well, that's what you're out here doing, right?
Yeah, I'm checking the new styles and
right.
What do you think about the sleeveless suit? Like I was thinking about it. Do you think it'll benefit for easier free fall, better arm grip?
I don't. I think the main benefit of the wetsuit isn't the surface, it's the form drag. So when the wetsuit compresses the limb, it makes a more even shape. It doesn't kind of wobble around so much. So when you're doing a stroke, there's a lot less of the form drag that happens.
And there goes Sophia. So let's see how she's doing here. And William, if you give us some commentary on her technique, that would be great.
Sure, yeah, she looks good. She's a really strong no fins freediver, has been for a long time. So
she does have pretty wide kick too. We were talking about a little bit that in freediving you're allowed to it's okay to have wider kicks and wider strokes.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much harder to go through this positive buoyancy. But
looks good. She's maybe taken 7 or 8 strokes to get to 27 meters. So they're very powerful.
Well, she's actually a strong person. You know, she goes to the gym a lot. She's got some good muscle in her, so she's got some power behind her strokes.
And in this discipline, it's really important to be strong. For example, I think that what might affected the straight dive, maybe the a little bit extra physical strength would help.
For sure.
Upper body strength is the key for
powerful
stroke.
Well, Sophia does CrossFit for her cross training, and as do I. So I've got to throw that one out there just so everyone knows how cool CrossFit is.
Yeah, we were talking about that before you came in. Anna von Dedeker is a big CrossFit diver. Here she comes.
Coming up strong.
Camila Yalber from Mexico joining us as well. Camila, how was your dive today?
Good.
Squeezing.
Squeezing in.
White card, which was great. We were happy to see that. Congratulations on a good dive.
Thank you. I'm happy for a white card on the last day.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
That's a good way to finish.
Should have been really good.
The speed is good. It was
Yeah.
0.8. It's pretty good for a woman. Good speed for a woman.
Good frequency.
Alternates with the 0.6 though, but.
Just with the first safety now.
Venga, Sophie. I borrowed her my lucky stripe for the tag.
Oh,
so-
then of course she's going to complete
Yes.
the dive.
I would say that she keeps her elbows a little bit low. What do you think? Well, like, you would,
Yeah,
assuming
she
you would
could
want to
maybe-
have your elbows as high as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And here we can see maybe it's due to the tiredness a little bit, but the elbows are a little bit low.
Venga, Sophie.
At the start of the stroke, maybe, yeah. But no, on the whole, her technique is pretty good. I think.
pretty good.
Yeah. She's still looking very in control and relaxed.
She's
Now
waving.
she waves at the camera.
She's got this in the bag.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I was telling that sometimes when you wave, it's tricky because then the percentage of failed dive is pretty high. When you start to be cheeky and wave, sometimes it leads to the like.
All right,
something.
she's breathing.
But she looks super
Oh,
good.
she looks super fresh.
Yay!
I'm okay.
Nice. Oh, you've got a closer angle on the surface. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we have another camera now out on the platform. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're kind of learning as we go here this week. William, how are you feeling about our dive eye and what we're getting to see here on these dives?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like it's unprecedented for the sport to be able to have this much coverage and see everything that's happening under the surface. And Sophia is waiting for a white card.
That's it. Congratulations, Sophia Gomez of Colombia.
And so, William, have you looked at your own dives and been kind of critiquing yourself as you watch them? And
Yes, especially the constant weight dive.
Especially the constant weight dive.
On the other day, which was terrible.
it wasn't terrible.
Your speed was really good. What was the speed on the way up? We see that dive I couldn't pick up with you. It was slower than you.
Yeah, it started off I think at about 1.6 or 1.7, and then it dropped down towards the end. I got tired legs for the first time in a constant weight dive here so far.
But the glide fin that you use is a relatively strong or hard stiffness. If I'm.
It's a number 2 carbon, but yeah, it is on the stiffer side.
And then what was it at the end? What was the speed in the end?
It normally drops, I didn't see on this one, but it normally drops down to around 1.3 or so. I think I average 1.45 on that kind of depth.
Okay.
I seem to do better with that speed. If I slow down too much and I get more knocked and my technique gets worse.
Yeah, my average speed, I'm okay with average speed of 1.3. I'm usually around 1.3, sometimes even less, 1.28.
You're a narcosis professional.
I'm a narcosis professional, yeah. So next is Jessie Liu, and she's doing 62-meter dive, and it's national record. I don't know what is her personal best. Actually, maybe it's deeper than.
It's a little bit deeper than this.
The national record.
I think she's done a little bit deeper than this in training, not the national record though. But Jessie, I mean, the thing is with Jessie, she has such an extraordinary breath hold that I feel like no matter what, she can just get through those dives.
Yeah, when you have an 8-minute static, it is an advantage, especially on and she tends to be a rather slow diver. She's tried to speed it up. When she first started, she was very slow. And I worked with her a little bit on some of her dynamic, and I told her, well, you've got to decide, how much ground you want to cover versus how long you're going to hold your breath. If you go too slow, you're going to be, you're not going so far. So she's tried to speed up just a little bit the last few years. So she hasn't been diving all that long. I think 2-3 years.
About that, yes.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years, I think.
Yeah. So she is the national record holder and champion of China in all disciplines. So she's been doing quite a bit of competing. She resides in Hawaii, although she is a Chinese national, but she has a home in Hawaii and trains regularly with the Kona Freediving Group, who are here with Annabelle Edwards and the other participants we've met during this week. And
30 seconds before her start.
She's a very strong diver. Very strong.
What was Sophia's dive time on that it's 60 meters.
And I didn't look to see what it was, and I didn't time it.
And we'll see it on the table.
Yeah, it's
it'll
pretty
be
quick.
on the
It's like
screen.
Yeah, it'll be on
2:30 or so.
That's one thing about this too, William, is it helps we get all those results already right on here, so we know
Yeah.
with the times and everything. So it's great.
Yeah, it is.
William's an organizer of a very prestigious competition known as Vertical Blue. He runs a school called Vertical Blue. If he's an AIDA instructor trainer, if you have an interest in learning how to freedive, contact him at verticalblue.net. We'd be happy to hear from you.
It's in Bahamas, Long Island.
In Dean's Blue Hall, one of our most
Excellent plug.
favorite dive locations.
Dean's Blue Hole is kind of like the great cathedral of freediving, you know? There's a lot of awe surrounding it.
Yeah.
It's my
She
church.
starts fast. You can see that she's starting pretty fast.
Yeah, she does.
So she tries probably to listen to your advice, Karla, and go a little bit faster.
Yeah.
She's doing well. Well, you wouldn't expect people in World Championship like doing these depths to have a bad technique.
No.
So nowadays, I think all of the top freedivers, they pretty much everyone have good technique. It's in the older days we had freedivers who were really diving deep and doing so with like just because of their strong mental, like because of the strong relaxation and good self-control. But nowadays you want to have a fine-tuned technique.
She swam quite deep, and she's still
45 meters.
doing kicks and small movements just to maintain her
a
free fall.
free
Yeah. Now she's sinking fairly quickly, 0.8 meters per second. But yeah, the free fall is.
She has her legs quite far apart. It seems to be slowing herself
or
down.
maybe not. Or maybe her.
Oh, just above the plate.
Yeah, no, like just
Oh, that's
barely.
torture.
Yeah.
It's really interesting why she turned. Like maybe she was not really careful with the mouthfeel, with equalization, because she didn't think it's deep enough. And
That
then
often happens in no fins. Yeah, you think.
in
okay,
some fins
it's-
you think it's shallow, like relatively shallow. You wouldn't care that much about equalization, but then might be not enough.
What often happens as well in no fins is because you have a higher level of CO2 on the way down, that impacts your equalization. It makes it more difficult to contain the mouthful and manage the volume of air. But she's swimming strong and quickly, so it looks like she's going to make it, but just maybe a meter or two above the plate.
Jayo, Jesse.
It's 30 meters, and she's looks a little bit tired for me.
Yeah, a little bit.
So it might be.
Sometimes when you fail the dive, I think you just come up with less enthusiasm. That's totally right. Yeah.
For me, it looks a bit like a little bit of too much tiredness.
Too much, you think? She's at 20 meters still.
I mean, there's still a lot to go.
Well, if equalization is very stressful, it can definitely impact upon your relaxation levels and lead to more hypoxia.
The stroke is getting smaller.
Yeah, she's kind of falling apart
So
here. Safeties are carefully
Let's
watching
hope
her.
she'll make it.
I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, that's a very small stroke.
Okay, 8 meters. And the safeties are nervous and ready to.
They're ready to get in there.
She should be floating up from this point. So
Well,
maybe
she's fighting for long.
Yeah.
Alright.
Maybe she's just super tired, but still aware.
And there she is.
Jesse, hook, Jesse.
Very interesting.
Okay, she looks alright.
So she's hypoxic, but she managed to do so. So probably this was the case where her static helped her to go through this big dive, and she was very tired physically, obviously, but she was able to keep consciousness.
Let's wait and see what the judges say on that.
I didn't see the protocol.
I didn't see the protocol.
Oh, couldn't tell.
Too. But she was facing them.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Alright, what card are they going to produce?
Well, we know it can't be anything better than a yellow card because she turned early.
Yellow
Yellow
card?
card.
Good.
Good, though.
Good.
Yeah, yellow card. All right.
Congratulations, Jesse. Are you the kind of still gets her a fair amount of points?
Something like 58, probably.
It looked like she turned at 60. If she turned at 61,
that'll
then
be
she'll get
59 points.
59 points, which
Yeah, and as William can attest, sometimes that early turn is not necessarily mean that you cannot win a gold medal.
Absolutely.
he had some success the other day, not the kind he wanted, but he ended
it
up
often
winning.
happens in World Champs, yeah.
Yeah, so
interestingly, with 59 points, she's equal in points to Sofia Gomez,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
if there was a tie break, she wouldn't actually get the same position as Sofia because there's a difference between her announced performance and her realized performance.
So, for example, in the podium, if there is the same amount of points, they will not both get the same place.
If it's
Or they
both
will-
white card, then it's
they
shared. But if one is yellow, then
One is yellow, is below, is it?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Me neither.
Learn something every day.
I
Which
never
doesn't
thought
really
about it.
make sense because
It's the same amount of points.
It's same depth.
No,
it's even deeper
really
depth. It's
only,
bigger
it
depth.
really happens in pool, not in depth. If it's
Yeah.
even points in pool,
Yeah.
it's the same. We don't do that. But we've got Jennifer Wendland joining us. Congratulations, Jenny, on a nice dive. Give us a little talk about, tell us how you felt and what you think about your dive today.
Well, it was completely contrary to all the other no-fins dives I made because actually this time the way down was very stressful and the way up was quite nice. I didn't hear my alarm, so I didn't know at what depth I was and where I should stop swimming. So I swam way further than I actually do or should have. And then I was also not very relaxed in the free fall because I had problems with my right ear again, like in the constant weight. But fortunately made it down to the bottom and way up was quite nice actually. I enjoyed it. I was just thinking, okay, this is your last dive, just enjoy it as much as you can. And it was quite nice.
How are the conditions today? Is there any?
It's amazing, just no current at all. It's bright because of the sun. Very lovely.
Very good.
That was great. Well done, Jenny. That was very nice. It looked very nice.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. So
Thank
good
you.
end for the competition.
Yeah. Coming up next on the blue
Alessia.
platform, we have Alessia.
Is it Chini?
We have Alessia.
She's going for
Spini.
65, which
is national record. It says national record. She for sure she did deeper dives in the training. I heard she was doing 68 meters in training, so she
but
should
that was
be
before she broke her or did something to her.
her elbow. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
she
don't
fell
think
off her
she's done
scooter.
a no-fins dive here since that accident.
But there's no challenge for her at all with equalization or narcosis.
no.
Yeah, it's only swimming.
So now we're going to see if there's
Well, it looks like she's
quite a high
her
frequency
arms.
stroke.
Her arms are
She's
working.
moving quickly, yeah.
There's no like both arms work really well.
She has a very narrow arm stroke. You can see on this angle, but if we get front onto her, you'll see it even more. That she's not pushing the water out very wide to her sides. Yeah.
And her leg kick is quite narrow as well.
It's more of a classical surface breaststroke kick.
30 meters. The speed
She's
is
still swimming at
0.9.
35 meters. Interesting that she's going into the free fall in a hands down position in no fins as well. We saw her do this in constant weight.
And immersion, I think she did as well.
As well.
Yeah.
Very interesting. What do you reckon, Alexei? Have you tried this kind of position?
Not yet. I will try. Like I really like to have more relaxation during the dive, but yeah, maybe if you get used to it, it might be all right and increase the speed. It definitely increases the speed.
Yeah, the tests I've done myself, because she's turning a little bit of a struggle to get the tag, but she's got it.
Wasting a little energy down
Oh,
there.
and her pull there was
That was
just
tight.
on the
Yeah.
edge of the candy cane, which
Should be fine. Yeah.
I hope it's fine, but I think if her hand goes across that edge of the tape, that might classify as a pull outside the candy cane zone.
Yeah, but not with the upper like finger or something. It should be the. I think should be the whole hand should be above the candy cane. Otherwise, it doesn't. You can't really see it
Yeah,
from
what
the
we
back.
think is one thing, what the rules say is another.
Yeah.
But I think by the rules, you
It
should
is?
see that the arm is above the candy cane.
Right.
So there's like
No, anything outside, the actual rule is anything outside the candy cane. So William is correct. You
Yeah.
have to really be within, your hand has to be within
The
candy
entire
cane.
hand.
Yes, yes.
Will there be an Because I know one of the judges is watching the dive
yes,
footage.
yes.
Are they able to
Savas
intercede?
is watching it over here. He's watching
Yeah.
that, and we will review it in better light on Slam.
Yeah, you mean you need to slow motion that and to see it precisely. Yeah, but that probably was because of extra stress on the bottom
It
and
looked like
trying
she was
to
having
get
difficulty,
the tag.
pulling the tag off the plate. But it doesn't look like her elbow or her wrist is hampering her swimming strokes.
No,
That's good.
no.
She's still coming up quite strong.
The dive time is good, 2:30 to 40.
She's about to surface now.
Oh, the dive looks easy for her.
Very clean surface mark.
Yeah, so the only trick here would be if she pulled too high.
Yeah, and
or
then
not.
we won't know that till later today when the judges review the film. That's
Right.
one advantage for the judges and disadvantage for our divers is now that we have dive eye, we can see what's going on. We had several pole violations the other day on things we would normally not see.
Yeah.
So
from a normal angle beneath the
yes,
plate, you probably wouldn't
can't.
catch that difference. Right, so that's if that stays white, that's a guaranteed bronze, and depending on what happens with the next two divers, it could be more than that.
Sophia has joined us, and congratulations, Sophia, on a really nice dive. Give us a little review on
Well done, Sophie.
Thank you. I was more worried because I know that my technique is not that nice. So I was like, no, Alexei and William.
Was good.
Yeah, Alexei and William are looking and dive. What are they going to say about it?
We were bursting in laugh. I'm kidding. Actually, we were commenting and we were saying that it's really good.
You look strong.
We were telling how strong you are, and then it looked really good.
It was a really nice dive. I haven't been doing too much no fins this year, and it's not at all. And it's a discipline that really makes me nervous because it's like the hardest one. So I was like, no, I want to announce something that I know I'm sure I can do, and no nerves at all. So that's why I announced 59 and not 60.
Right.
And
but you've done 60 many times.
Yeah,
several
I've done
times.
60 many times.
And
but
we got
it's
rumors
still,
that you dove deeper than 60 also.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did, but it was a long time ago.
Was that on your birthday 2 years ago in Blue Hole?
In the Blue Hole, yeah.
Right, yes,
yeah.
I remember that dive.
Okay.
Something like that. In good company, yeah. But it's still a discipline that I think is really hard for me. But today it was so easy.
Yeah.
Like I felt that I pulled from the candy cane and I was already 10 meters up.
That's the best feeling.
I was like,
and then
oh,
the next second the safeties are there and you're like, it's over so soon.
Yeah, so it's
I miss that. In our no fins, it's not like that.
No.
In the men's no fins, you pull from the bottom and then you swim and swim and swim, and the safeties are not there yet. Well, unless in Arctic, the time flies.
The odd dive I've had like that.
Like time fly?
Yeah. You start counting the strokes and then you think you're at 10 strokes and then already there's a safety dive in front of you.
Yeah.
But it's not every day for sure. Congratulations, that was a
Thank
solid dive.
Yeah, it was really nice.
So at the moment you're in second position behind Alessia. You have 2 dives still to go. Who is next on the white platform?
We've got coming up, we're going to have
the defending
Sayuri over on the blue, on the white platform.
World
Our
record
last
holder.
diver on that, the world record holder, Sayuri Kinoshita of Japan. And so this is a couple meters below her record, 70 meters she's announced in a dive time of 3:10. Extremely strong diver.
Yeah.
We've just, William and I have been just amazed when she first came to Vertical Blue. We really didn't know anything about her, and suddenly she was doing these record dives. It was really impressive.
I think it was her second year at Vertical Blue that she
did the
set the record, I think.
Third. The third year, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first year she came and she was handing in her PBs to me, and she had put down 55 CNF, and I'd never heard of her, and she had nothing on the ranking. And I said, have you been doing this in training? And I asked Ruzo, who was training with her. He says, oh yeah. I said, okay, I just need to check, because that is a substantial dive for a newcomer. Yeah.
So we have Sayuri breathing up for 1 minute top time, and Amber is already breathing on the blue platform as well. She'll go 7 minutes after.
She's one of the girls who prepare in the vertical position. from previous divers, most of them would prepare in the horizontal position. You see, she's doing it in a vertical. So
She's
she
from
dove.
She's off.
So nice to see her dive.
She has good efficiency.
Very powerful kick.
You can see the swimmer right away when you see the how the actual pull and stroke would move the
18
person.
seconds, 18 meters, yeah. Just starting to relax now. Getting ready for the free fall.
She's faster than me on my no fins. I'm I would be, somewhere a little bit slower.
Right.
But you're a buoyant fellow, aren't you, Alexa?
I'm a buoyant fellow. Well, I'll be fast on the way up for sure. But I'm slow on the way down, but I'm fast.
She's got a good free fall technique as well. Her hands are tucked in close to her body. Her feet are pretty still. Just using them.
And you can see the swimmer's feet. So the swimmer's feet would help to balance herself during free fall. You don't see it much in the previous divers. Their feet would be just straight and dragging. So her feet is really.
She's actually
really
pointing her toes, or maybe it's just the flexibility.
Yeah. So she's doing exactly the same what I do. From the previous diver on free immersion, I had cramps in my feet after the dive.
Really?
Yeah, just pointing the toes.
There she is.
Has the tag. Puts it on her.
She didn't use actually the rope to get her some initial speed on the pool, so she was safe. She didn't want maybe to disqualify herself.
It's a good angle to see her technique. Very nice rhythm.
0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, yeah.
She's well on time. What did she announce? 3 minutes 10. So I think she's going to surface
2:45.
Yeah, well before that.
2:50.
So she's maybe slowing just a little bit.
Sometimes I get more nervous than when I'm doing dives.
You're watching someone else, yeah. Where are the safety divers? They should be leading her step.
There they are.
They're probably a little late because they expected her to.
She's so fast. He looks at the watch and what are you doing here so early? Okay, last 20 meters. She slows down a little bit.
This probably is going to be 3 minutes or more. Still looking very in control.
Okay, she's turning. Looks good.
It's so nice.
And that looks like a gold medal performance.
Yeah, it does look like a very nice dive.
It does.
Let's wait and see what the judges say in case they saw something we couldn't see. It looks very good.
That was a clip.
That's a good coach.
Coach.
Signal. Signal. It's always so much fun to look at. Good job. And there's the last contender, Amber Brook, fellow of Adam. Adam, will you tell us more about Amber, your fellow countryman?
Countrywoman.
Countrywoman. Well, I mean, Amber's she's been doing some really solid no-fin dives over the past few months, and she did in the Cripper Cup. She did 68 no-fins, and she did it on a day where there was
a
lot of current. So this is a PB for her, but I mean, personally, I think she's got this one in the bag too. I think she can do. I mean, she's such a strong diver in the pool. She's done some really big DNF performances, dynamic no-fin performances. So I don't think, with the conditions we have today, this dive will be an issue. The
All
only
in nerves.
Nerves and equalization, because 70 meters is actually on the limit of Amber's equalization, or close to. Yeah, her deepest dive.
She was doing
so
more than
far,
70 with other disciplines, though.
She did 73. But you know, I mean, that's the only thing that can go wrong. Absolutely.
She's got gold medal here, which could also make it a little bit more stressful.
That's true.
So.
Yeah.
And she knows that Sayuri has just completed her dive.
So 4 minutes, is it 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
3 minutes 30. 3 minutes 30, so it's a long dive.
Yeah, by far the slowest of the deepest dives in the woman.
She's definitely a slow swimmer.
Estrella has joined us here. You may have seen Estrella had a little bit of difficulty on her dive, but as you can see, she's just fine. Estrella, you want to give us a quick little recap there on what you think went wrong there on that dive?
I had few mistakes. My dive time was 10 seconds longer than it should be. When I did my dog dive, I got stuck with my lanyard. I couldn't move my arms, and later, because I got nervous because of that reason, I slowed down to control rest, and I did my first meters like very slow, slower than usually. I think that was part of it. On the other hand, it was a very interesting experience because when I blacked out, it was like falling into a dream. And the dream lasted like the time of 30 minutes, like a 30 minutes live.
What was the dream about?
Well, I don't remember. I was trying to remember, but it was nice. I actually had a smile, like I was dreaming something very nice.
30 seconds for Amber.
30 seconds before Amber starts.
Last dive of the day to try and equal Sayuri's dive for a gold medal. So you think, Adam, if she can equalise, then she's got
I
this?
think if she can equalise, then she has this for sure.
It's definitely better conditions than the day she did the 68.
Much better. One interesting thing is as well you'll see is that Amber doesn't actually do any packing for her dives as well.
Really?
Which is good for the speed down.
Absolutely.
And well, we would not pack with you for this dive either, right? Like 70 meter dive. Poor.
You don't pack.
Huh? You don't pack too?
No.
And there she goes.
She has an interesting duck dive technique where she kind of falls backwards into the duck
She
dive.
pulls with her arms, right?
She was a synchronized swimmer, so she has a lot of water control. Yeah.
They know how to do all kinds of fancy entries and exits.
Yeah, it's also where she got a lot of her control in the water from and her CO2 tolerance.
She has an arm stroke that looks like it's a little bit in two movements. Maybe it's just because it's very relaxed.
And it's wide, pretty wide.
It is, yeah.
And
a couple of kicks to go into the free fall.
She looks really relaxed.
Alright,
she does something with the arms.
Yeah, she's kind of pushing just on the lower end, not on the top of the stroke.
Maybe because of the speed, because she wasn't free falling very quickly at the time, but now she seems to be alright. Still a slow free fall though.
She's falling reasonable distance from the rope as well. She's coming into it now.
Yeah, we definitely expected the dive time to be long, so I mean none of this is coming as a surprise so far.
50 meters.
Looking good and composed now.
There we go.
The speed is definitely slower than other divers, but it's not something too slow. It's not much.
Alright, this is going to be the moment of truth, whether her equalization is working today or not.
Oh, no.
It's
no.
not. Not today.
Okay.
It's a shame.
It's such a shame.
So that was a turn at about 62, which with penalties will bring her down to 53 or so.
Yeah. She's definitely out of medal contention now. It's okay. I mean, Amber, she'll spend the next few months continuing to train, so I'm sure she'll work on her equalization and attempt that dive, if not deeper, again in the next few months for sure.
And there are some national competitions soon for Australia?
Yes, she'll be competing in the, to my knowledge, the Australian Depth Championship and the competition in Aceh, Sabang in northern Indonesia. And yeah, she's definitely got plans to do some big no-fin dives in those competitions.
She's coming up to 30 meters now.
Her stroke was quite different on the way up than it did on the way down.
Well, we were seeing it at a different angle on the way down. Now we're seeing it like front on. You can kind of see how wide it is.
The elbows, I would say the elbows are low, and maybe the strength. Yeah, she needs some extra strength to actually keep the elbow higher.
Also, she
to
could
have
maybe
better grip.
reach a little bit higher above her head. It doesn't seem like she's lengthening her arms as much as she might be able to.
Well, I'm sure this is all valuable feedback for her for her next training period.
When she sees the live streaming, the record of the live stream, she will.
Okay. And she's probably going to be very fresh on the surface here.
Sure.
Yeah.
She looks fresh.
Yeah.
Half a minute before she announced.
Which is a still deep dive, more than 60 meters.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Oh, she is hypoxic.
Yep.
Stay up.
Breathe, Amber.
Wow. Competition stress, that's
Competition
it.
stress. She was very nervous this morning. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is her first World Championships. I think
And
maybe
it's-
that's been a little bit hard for her.
It's the event that she was training for as well.
That's right. But look, I mean, irrelevant. I think she's done a huge performance, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. That barring anything unusual, that should be a yellow card. Let's see what the judges say.
Yellow card. Good. And that's the third deepest dive. Like if you don't see the don't look at the points. It's the third deepest dive.
Absolutely.
Their deepest dive, but she will have the penalty points, which will
Bring her lower.
bring her lower than that. So
So the final standing will be Sayuri with gold, Alessia with silver, and Sofia Gomez with bronze.
So for the Sofia, even though she have the same points, she will be still above, right?
Yes.
Even though she dove shallower. That's weird. For me, in my sense, it's weird. The person who dove deeper is cooler, right?
They both received 59
The
points.
person that dove
Yes,
deepest
but
is cooler,
they tie for
but
third
it's.
in depth.
I understand why. I mean,
I don't.
a huge part of freediving has to be about people knowing what
one of
they
them
can
has a
do,
difference between the
announcing
AB
a
and the
performance,
IB.
and reaching that performance, not necessarily
Yeah.
So one of them is a yellow card. one
failing
is
to
white.
reach the
So
bottom
white
of their
card.
dive.
Right. But still, it doesn't really like for me. The person dove deeper, and then even though it's
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right.
Anyway, let's
Right.
let's have a little preparation for tomorrow. I don't know if we can hear it. It's extremely noisy here right now.
Yeah, it's
but
very noisy.
We have
I'll go
two
check
of our
what-
main contenders for our men tomorrow sitting with us. The only,
You're talking about me, Karla?
yes, absolutely. But we have William and Alexi here. I'm sure neither one of you want to divulge anything about what you're going to be announcing tonight, but we're going to be
I know exactly what William gonna announce.
You know exactly?
I know exactly what he'll announce.
I'll tell you the first digit of mine if you tell me the second digit of yours.
The second digit- I don't think it's fair. Okay.
Same number of digits, isn't it?
Right.
Think about
I
that.
must think about it. It's like some game is here.
That's right. I mean,
Okay, but we can bet. We can have a. Okay.
Should we take bets?
We can take bets.
All right. We'll be setting up a website tonight.
Where you can place the bets and put some money into freediving.
I'm sure there's all
Have you
kinds of
decided yet?
legalities that we haven't
I haven't
considered
decided
here.
yet. But I'm sure if we set up the website for online bets for freediving now with the dive eye, that would be cool.
Okay, all right, guys. Well, I think that's the end of our live broadcast for the day for the women's CNF, constant weight no fins.
We'll be back tomorrow morning at the same time to begin our men's competition. We look forward to seeing you with William, Alexi, Adam, Morgan Borges from France competing, and thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. See you.